about how it used to be. Wind undid my hair like it knew you weren't there. Boys like you never play fair. I'm on a midnight bike ride, there's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on a midnight bike ride, there's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. Now that you know things can never be the same. I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone away. I'm gone, I'm gone away. The moon lights up my sundress, reminds me to forget. The moon lights up my sundress, shows what lies ahead, ahead. I'm on a midnight bike ride, there's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on a midnight bike ride, there's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. Now that you know things can never be the same. I'm on a midnight bike ride, there's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. How could you think we could just be friends again? I'm on a midnight bike ride, there's orders 2 a.m. Left you behind. Now that you know things can never be the same. Lights up my sundress, reminds me to forget. Lights up my sundress, shows what lies ahead, ahead.
I stayed awake last night, 'cause I couldn't close my eyes and see you another night. I drove myself crazy thinking you'd take my wildest dreams and tear them all to the ground. So I tried to create a decoy world for you to destroy in my mind. You can stay and believe you're tearing me apart while I'm coming to life, while I'm coming to life. I couldn't keep the secret. You found my darkest demons and brought them out in the light. So I ran to all the preachers, despite having every reason to shut down and mobilize. So I prayed to the gods for one last saving grace against all odds. And I built an escape using all my energy just to come back to life, back to life.
that's why DPS are so good. Yeah, that's why AC switched to support. That's one of the reasons he switched to support was the Q times.
I'm going to find the promised land.
Seeing myself standing on the edge, about to fall. Don't know if you like to see me out there beneath, while I'm struggling to breathe on my own. I won't turn my back on you, 'cause your love's the only one I know. Just one more chance is all I need. I'll lift you up and set you free. I will take you right there. I will take you. Every time you look into my eyes, I know I'm yours. All you want is to see me down and begging on the floor. Don't stop moving 'cause I like the way you choose me just right. I never backing down, never knowing when to stop. I won't turn my back on you, 'cause your love's the only one I know. Just one more chance is all I need. like I do. Losing my objective slowly out of sight. Just pull me out and make it right for you. Oh, I won't turn my back on you. Could have been. Every time you stood by me, I just won't see. Don't stop moving 'cause I like to play 'cause you use me just right. I never backing down, never knowing when to stop.
Hello and welcome into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We've got a good one on our hands here tonight, and we've got a new caster alongside us. Meet Stella, who's going to be here calling all of the action, because we're going to need a third person on the desk, because we're going back to a dark time in Overwatch history. Some reason someone decided it'd be a great idea to have a GOATS tournament, so hopefully if you enjoyed GOATS, which you probably don't want to admit it, you'll be in for a lot of fun tonight. So it's going to be a GOATS tournament. Boise State and Midland kicking things off for the Broncos. Fish and D'Angelo going to be calling it alongside of Stella, of course, because D'Angelo, we're going to need some help to stay sane through probably one of the worst metas in Overwatch history.
Oh, yeah. I mean, worst meta is entirely dependent on, I feel, whether or not you're a DPS main, because for a while there, they were just completely irrelevant. Like, there wasn't a DPS hero that you could play that would be able to counter GOATS, just because it was so strong and they all played together, and it was a comp that everybody generally had an idea of what they were supposed to do, so it could even be run at lower elos, and so it was just insane. And so Fish, I would say that the darkness that we are returning to is entirely relative, because I have a number of friends that are tank mains, and they all thought GOATS was awesome.
I'm just saying, I watched a video the other day on YouTube. It was titled "The Character That Killed Overwatch," and it was about Brig, and it was because she invented the GOATS meta. So clearly not everyone was happy about it. Now, we've had a few new heroes released, not really any in the support role, but we've had, I think, a couple new tanks like Sigma. Do you think we're going to see anything different, or do you think we're going to see almost, you know, someone could be watching and think they jumped in a time capsule and went back to GOATS meta? Do you think we'll just see the standard comp?
Well, when Baptiste came out, people were like, oh, is he going to finally be the character that kills GOATS? And no, he wasn't. They had to completely change the game and introduce roll walk so that you physically couldn't go 3 tanks and 3 supports. And so, yes. I think we might see some of that possibly. I think it's definitely a possibility that we would see some of the Baptiste Bastion that was pulled out, but I think most of it will be just traditional goats.
See the rules there for the GOATS tournament, 6v6, no DPS. There's no other limits. It's using a workshop code so that we can, I don't know about the peak GOAT meta, the awful dark days of Overwatch, whatever you want to call it. And then you see the fixed map rotation there of King's Rest, Rialto, Lijiang, Hollywood, and Route 66 in these best of 5. So I'll be really curious to see how this is going to play out. And I'm going to really know who was the mastermind behind this, because I don't know of many people who, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe tanks and support players loved it, but it wasn't the most exciting thing to watch. I mean, I really hope it's a little bit, and as you see there was the standard GOATS.
Yep.
One version of it. I mean, this feels like we're going to be watching a slower version of the Shield meta we saw at the start of this semester with Sigma Orisa, and you're like, hey, there's no damage. And there's really no damage.
However, GOAT's meta was successful for so long because of that Brig stun enabling you to get a ton of damage on once you got on top of them. The getting on top of them was the issue and required some good pathing from people. However, I do believe most of these maps are going to be determined, like most GOATs are determined, who has the better Zarya and D.Va. And I know that sounds really weird because you need your Rein to initiate, right? Mm-hmm. But the Zarya D.Va, whether or not you get value out of the grab and whether or not you have to use your Trank for that is really, really important. Sorry, I'll let you call the...
Well, there's the bracket there in case you're interested. The 8 teams that are here, Boise State and Midland at the top. And you go down Iowa State, Kent State, Becker College and Emerson, and then Roger Williams and New England. So hopefully we'll see Boise State in all 3 games tonight making their way to the finals. Like I said, I'm pretty curious because I wasn't huge into Overwatch watching it when GOATS was around, because I remember when I looked, I was like, this is not fun to watch. So I'll be really curious as someone who's been casting non-GOATS. Really, I started casting for Boise State when 222 was released. I'm going to be really curious to see where this compares to what 222 looks like.
Yes, and like I was saying before, you're going to mainly want to watch the tanks.
Yep.
The supports are along for the ride, and the Brig stun is there to initiate. The Brig stun is there as an initiation. But really, you're going to want to watch the Reinhardt and their aggression levels and which one is willing to push more on the other one. And then you're going to want to watch the Zarya D.Va ultimate eat war that's going to be going on if they're running traditional GOATs.
I'm excited. I know there's a ton of people who are excited. We get Doc's keys to the game. They might be a little too updated, honestly, since we're stepping into this time capsule. But they are winning the first fight, have that better target focus, respect their ultimates, and then, of course, letting Bagel know he doesn't need to feed. It's all brought to you by Count, whose Identity Trust Global Network provides real-time fraud prevention, account protection, and a personalized customer experience for more than 9,000 leading brands and payment providers. Thanks to their award-winning AI, they help you stay safe online. You want more information, go check them out at count.com. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the first fight's going to go about 3 minutes long, honestly. From the snippets I've seen of GOATS, the first fight might be the only fight.
The first fight might be the only fight. I'm going to have to disagree with you there, because at least what Boise State was always taught and what we saw in a good portion, especially from NYXL in Overwatch League, was just the Reinhardt pushing in and then eating them alive. So I would say it's going to take them a good bit to get in position. So I think you're right about the positioning part. But once the fight has started in earnest, I think it's just going to be a massacre.
I mean, alt percentage probably going to be more important here than in some of the other games, because it literally is the exact 6 same heroes, and both, as you mentioned,
yes,
both teams kind of have an idea of what they want to do. So really no need to break down the comp. We just get a cool little look around of the spawn room, because we know, and we're going to see a lot of this. So get used to it.
Yeah, everybody knows in general what GOATS is supposed to do. But if you don't, you run into the enemy team. That's it. That's why you have the Lucio. You just run in.
See there, Midland is attacking. Boise State's going to get up in their face. Noro taken low, going to force to be barriered up, and now we start to retreat. We see over Discord has landed onto Guac. It's on Noro as well. Swapped over to Plato to the side of Midland, and now the Warriors going to shove around the corner. They're going to get an elimination, trade it off. Guac for Scout. So one tank down on the side of Boise State, one support down on the side of Midland. No one else taking too much damage for Midland. Now Sky gets taken out. Boise State now up 2. They have gotten a couple of respawns. Scouts can be closer. There's the rally from Asu already being used, and immediately Boise State starts running them down with that tanking into G3. All 3 members eliminated. The Broncos there going to win that fight on the back of that rally.
Absolutely fantastic job there. We charged our ultimates fast. We charged them first. We used them. We did an amazing job. Fish, can you guess who the most important member on this team in Goats Comp is?
I would have to take the break.
No.
Really?
It's the Zarya.
Well, speaking of that, there's the grab that comes out right from Goblin, right as you say that, D'Angelo, and that proves to be worthwhile. Boise State is going to pick up Chatter and What? They're going to send the rest of the members of Midland running for the hills. There you go, look at that. It's like you knew what you were talking about. You called it.
Yes, he did happen to get an absolutely huge graviton surge there as well. I mean, it's easy to get huge grabs when everybody's grouped together.
Chatter's going to throw out his grab. Not going to be able to be eaten by Boise State. Plato's going to use the Transcendence to keep the Broncos alive. Sky's going to say, hey, that looks fun. Let's do it right back. Shatter gets blocked from Guac. Large Big going to throw down the sound barrier. Diva Bomb does come out from What? And a rally from Scout will be used as both teams not taking too much damage to people around half-life. Plato right now the one being burned down. Kel now going to throw the Diva Bomb in on the side of Midland, but a nice sound barrier there by Shiloh to cancel out all of that damage. And Sky gets the first elimination onto Goblin. We do see a couple of Reinhardt stunned, and Guac gets taken down in the process. Asu has used the rally. Don't think it's going to be enough this time to turn the fight. If he does get taken down, Kel, the next target, taken out of the mech. A large big will fall as well, and that will be payload unlocked for Midland.
Payload unlocked for Midland indeed, because they killed the Zarya. If you kill the Zarya, your chances of winning the fight go up by about 80%. You have an 80% chance to win that fight. It's absolutely huge if you manage to kill that Zarya, and here's why. You mentioned earlier that Goats Comps shouldn't have a lot of damage. And face value, you look at it and you think it wouldn't. However, if you'll notice, a good Zarya will stay at above 90 charge for the entire fight. So she is the damage. She is the one hero. She is the damage. Everybody else just kind of enables her to murder.
See there, I mean, it makes sense as the Zaryas are the ones who have the ultimates online. Plato does now have the Transcendence, and Boise State's going in for the flank. Goblin's going to throw down there's a double grab coming out from Chatter as well. Right now, Plato's still holding on to the Transcendence. No one taking too low. Asu, though, has been taken low, and that's enough to bait out the Transcendence from Plato. Boise State going to be able to stabilize here. Shatter's going to land onto 4 Broncos, but an answer back from Guac. And What's Diva Bomb's going to be the one that flips that fight, as Kel has been taken out of the mech, and Boise State now going to lose 5 members, and that really was the Diva Bomb making the difference there, as everything else was pretty even.
Oh yes, absolutely. We're seeing Midland get more value out of their ultimates, and when you're running a mirror comp, it comes down to 2 things: who can play the heroes better, and who can use their ultimates better. And that fight, that happened to be Midland.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kel, the Diva Bomb just wasn't up, because I mean it was a 4-man Shatter and a 3-man Shatter. It was a bunch of sitting ducks, just nothing there. Speaking of that, Kel immediately taken out of the mech. Shiloh's going to use the sound barrier there. Large Bagel's going to answer back with one of his own, but a 5-man Shatter coming down from Noros. Going to spell doom for Boise State. They will lose 3, make it 4, and that's going to be an easy second point for Midland.
Yes, that was a relatively easy second point there for Midland. They used their ultimates exactly how they needed to, and they're not even sitting in an ultimate advantage. They could potentially roll this. Boise State needs to get it together and get it together fast, because we have nothing for the Zarya Graviton Surge. So a lot of pressure on Kel there to do something about it, because neither one of his supports currently can.
See the Diva Bomb's up. Grab now up for Goblin, and he's going to use it immediately, and that's going to have to take down Sky, and that should be enough for Boise State. They're going to combo with the Diva Bomb, take down the shield, and just like that, Boise State going to get 5 members as Shiloh retreats, and the Broncos, hey, whoever hits Q first is usually going to win, and that was a perfect grab by Goblin.
Absolutely, and we saw some Plato snipes there. Plato managed to kill the enemies in Yana before he could Tranquility in the grab, and that would have just kind of made things useless for them. However, now we have Tranquility for their grab, so this hold is looking pretty good.
Fortunately, Boise State does lose Goblin before the Trank comes out. Double rally used. Plato does get pinned, but he is able to survive. He's trying to run away from Noro. Nearly takes him down, but Sky is enough going to come over and assist his Reinhardt. Meanwhile, back on the payload, Boise State just barely hanging on. And it's a 5-man Shatter from Guac. There's really nothing for Boise State. It will get the Transcendence out from Sky, so there's an ultimate burn. Unfortunately, Boise State will lose their Reinhardt, and they're going to have to retreat. And they're now looking at no ultimates for potentially the last few fights.
the last few fights. Indeed, we lost our Zarya and we lost a good portion of our hold. It's a delicate balance that the Zarya has to play as aggressive enough to be high charge, but not so much that she gets picked.
Shatter winning that battle in the next grab, 73-56. But Boise State does have a couple of ultimates in the lead, especially that Tranquility. Plato's up at 70, Sky's just at 20. Sound Barrier up for a large bagel. It's up for Shiloh as well. There's another great pick by Plato onto Sky. Scout taken low as well. Boise State will trade out Goblin for that, though. And Plato incredibly low. Rally going to be used there by Asu. Rally's going to be matched there by Scout as well. Sound Barrier comes out to try and counteract the Shatter, and the Tranquility going to be used there by Plato. So Boise State throwing everything at Midland. Diva Bomb going to be used there. There is a grab that came out, but Boise State using that Diva Bomb to just zone away the Warriors. They have taken down Noro, and now they're starting to run at Midland. You see a large bagel there. He has been orbed to Discord, but he's chasing him back. They want that Reinhardt back in the fight. There's a minute and a half left. Nice eat by Woot, taking away Goblin's grab.
That was a little bit too aggressive of a grab and a little bit of a bad place there for Goblin.
See a large bagel taken low, gets the health pack. Shiloh's going to use the sound barrier there. Guac's going to throw down the Shatter. Unfortunately, it's not going to get much value for Boise State. They have lost two. Payload slowly starting to push in. Good news here, there's no squishy DPS that need to contest. These are all very tanky members, as we see Transcendence being used there by Plato and Sky, so they'll just run right next to each other, heal everyone up to full. Rally going to be used there by Asu as a Diva Bomb from what comes out. Boise State survives. Two-man Shatter is landed by Noro, and Boise State will lose one of those members, but they'll take out Sky as well. So it's both Zenyatta's now taken down. Scout being stunned as Guac will fall, but Boise State's still close enough, and a grab from Goblin's going to be used. A large bagel trying to do what he can. He will get taken out, and Noro's going to pick up a triple kill. Kel has been stunned. Plato does at least get one back. Boise State has a couple of reinforcements coming in very soon. If Kel can survive on the point, as Noro throws down another Shatter, and Boise State is going to unfortunately run out of bodies, and Midland just barely makes it.
Now, if you'll notice, they rounded that first corner with about 5 minutes. Boise State, things were not looking good for this final hold there after their absolute failure of a defense on second point. However, Midland only managed to cap that with 30 seconds, so Boise State Broncos, pat yourself on the back. I mean, it's always a good day to be a Boise State fan, but it's especially a great day when you can burn 5 minutes off the clock just sitting for them trying to cap through point.
And we'll see how Boise State wants to, or how they will fare, I should say, and how much time's going to be left in overtime. Because, yeah, I mean, you're right. That was a great hold by Boise State. A couple of fights where we even said, I don't know if Boise State, they don't have ult advantage. The Broncos were like, well, yeah, but what if we just get a pick first? Then we have ult advantage. So,
absolutely.
I mean, really, the MVP has been Plato, though. I mean, he's got one or two picks on the Sky that have absolutely shut down what Midland wants to do.
It's been absolutely impressive. Not only on that pick on the Zenyatta and the grab was fantastic, but he's just winning the Zen v Zen overall. Yep. And I mean, his DPS main is really showing on the Zen because he's doing an absolutely amazing job. And I think Boise State has a good shot at just rolling on attack here because Goblin's amount of aggression that he was showing was really hurting Boise State on defense for a couple of fights when he got picked. But if the goal is to attack, and if the Broncos push him in, I think they can all just enable Goblin to walk forward and roll over people.
Boise State also had a couple of interesting choices where they would flank Midland, and it almost felt like I was watching them attack because they would always end up behind them, which I thought was very interesting and a little bit disorienting at times. Boise State's going to hop right on to the point. What has been taken towards 50% with that Orb of Discord. Right now, Boise State feeling pretty healthy. Asu going to be healed up. Walk now dropping low. There's that Plato, and once again getting the first pick onto Noro. They will lose Guac, unfortunately, but that's all that's going to be taken down as Shiloh and Scout the last couple remaining. Boise State with a very clean win, and that's going to be a quick payload for them.
Oh, yes, absolutely, and I believe they can keep the roll going there. However, they do need to be wary of the Shatter and Grab that are about as close as their own. However, they have significant advantage on support ultimates to counter those.
And Noro has gotten a ton of Shatter value this map. This is a Midland team that has given Boise State the most problems in Nate, so this is a very good matchup for them between two of the top teams in some other competitions that are not this Ghost competition that we're having right now. If you're confused why we've gone back, you see the rally come out from Asu. Goblin's going to drop down the grab. There's a Transcendence and a rally available. They will both be popped by Midland, but a four-man Shatter from Guac Unfortunately, he's just going to be eaten up by all of the healing. Chatter's now going to throw down his own grab. Kelsey's a great opportunity. They're going to Diva Bomb. Picks up 2 for Boise State, and going to knock 1 out of the mech, and that sets him up for a very easy kill. And Boise State, they got the support ults out of the way, and then Kel sets him up perfectly with the Diva Bomb.
Perfectly setting up. The thing about goats is goats can eat a lot of ultimates, except it's really hard to eat a Diva Bomb. There's nothing Tranquility can do against a Diva Bomb, and there's very little a Lucio beat can do. You have to time it perfectly, and you have to be within sight of everybody. You just can't absorb a Diva Bomb the way you can absorb a grab or a shatter, and Kel, it just comes down to positioning, and Kel did an amazing job.
See Boise State, some of the team getting a little aggro there towards second point. They're going to bait out the Shatter and the Diva Bomb. Both sound barriers have been used, and there's Boise State going to throw grab, Transcendence, and the rally at the side of Midland. It's enough to pick up 2, make it 3, send everyone back to spawn, and Boise State aggressive with the ultimates. They're going to have probably around that 5-minute mark we saw Midland have as they round this last corner to second point.
Oh yes, absolutely. But hopefully they'll be able to just kind of roll through and press onward instead of getting stopped for about 5 minutes there. They're in a good position. Their Shatter's close, and Goblin can probably get a decent amount of ult charge, but they really need to watch out for that Graviton Surge and preferably get a pick on the sky soon.
There it is, 5 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock as Boise State heads towards the final checkpoint. Scout's going to use the rally, and Guac is going to be taken down in that very small corridor. Boise State's also going to lose Plato as well, and shades of how Boise State's defense started as Midland's going to send the Broncos running to the spawn, and they're just going to have to wait for everyone to get back.
That was a really unfortunate fight. However, we did get Rally out of them, and we got Grab out of us, so that's good. We're going in with Grab, Shatter, and almost a Tranquility. So even though that fight was kind of pitiful to watch, now we're at a significant ultimate advantage.
Both grabs are up, and Goblin's going to start with one of his own. Kel's trying to set up a deep bomb there, right on the other side of the Rhine shield. Unfortunately not able to do much as the Transcendence has been used by both Plato and Sky, but a 3-man Shatter is going to flip it for Boise State. They take down Noro and Scout. They will lose a large bagel to a nice Diva Bomb there from Watt. They're also going to lose Kel out of the mech, but he's going to send Midland running for the hills. He's got plenty of support behind him, and the Broncos going to come rounding around this second corner here and set things up for maybe a couple more fights.
As you see our 2 normal DPS mains, Plato and Goblin, pushing, getting set to try to push them as far back into spawn as they can.
Rally has been used by Asu. Kel able to hop back in the mech. Shatter's going to land just onto Asu with that sound barrier. Should be enough to stay alive. Sound barrier for Shiloh comes out, but it's a second too late to save Noro and What in the mech. And now Boise State sees the advantage. They're going to take down 3 grabs available, but right now the Broncos just going to ride the payload home. One more fight, and Boise State's going to have a huge time advantage.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Not only a huge time advantage, but it's looking like they're not going to be able to get out of their spawn to contest that payload.
A nice grab there from Goblin. Shatter, a nice body block from Boise State. And we'll give them the extra 30 seconds, but it's going to be a hard-pressed time in overtime. This is the GOATS Collegiate Invitational between Boise State and Midland here in the first round. It is a best of 5, and the Broncos right now heading to overtime on Kings Row, but it's 4 minutes and 10 seconds versus a minute.
I think it's pretty safe to say that Boise State's got this. I don't know. I believe in them. I believe in their abilities. I believe in the extra 3 minutes and 10 seconds that they have their fish.
Yeah, that definitely helps. As you see there is the Collegiate GOATS Invitational there. Best of 3, excuse me. There's the maps right there, Kings Row, Rialto, and Ilios. And then, of course, it is only GOATS Heroes. We're taking a time portal back to a time of Overwatch. I don't know, in the grand scheme of things, if it was a good time. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, as has been said before by many people. And Boise State right now, it's the best of times for them.
Yes, it is in fact the best of times for Boise State, like it would have been as a Brig main trying to climb during the GOATS meta. However, things for Midland are looking like if you're a Sombra main during the times of the GOATS meta.
Midland's had some very nice fights. It was really, as you mentioned, D'Angelo, that third point. Both teams went around the corner with about 5 minutes on the clock. Boise State's defensive hold was just a little bit sharper. So the Warriors are going to have to do a lot of work here in overtime to kick things off. And they immediately drop several members to half health. Boise State right in their face. They're going to take down Noro. Guac barely surviving, gets that health pack as well. Scout will fall. What knocked out of the mech? And unfortunately, Midland, you have to think that fight probably seals that this is a 0% payload cap.
Yes, absolutely, especially with Boise State back close to your spawn with 62 to grab, a full 10% above your own Zarya. That's a bit... Because that was going to win them the fight. If they get a huge ultimate, they can win this, they can take this. They do have another fight, they're just going to have to pull off some amazing stuff.
The rally's going to immediately be used there by Asu. Scout being taken down, doesn't even have close to his. Shatters up for Guac. There's 9 seconds left. Maybe we see an attempted back cap, but they're going to shatter into the spawn. What does eat the grab? So it's a little bit of positive news for Midland, but unfortunately, they're not even close. What gets blown out of the mech, and Boise State going to have a simple time here. They just need to get 1 tick, and they've got 4 minutes to do it.
Yes, and I believe that their strategy will be just to run to the point. All they have to get is a tick, and usually what we see from Boise State teams is when that happens is you just go straight to the point. It takes a lot of bravery to play Reinhardt in a GOATS comp because every time the camera goes to Guac, I just see him at below half health in the middle of the fight, and I just see his life flash before my own eyes, Fish.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was dead to rights there in the corner right by that bus, but, you know, he puts up the shield, backs into a health pack, and Boise State's like, hey, we got you, don't worry. So, yeah, being a Ryan seems like the scariest thing. Boise State maybe going to bring out the Ana, maybe change things up. Because they just don't have to play, they don't have to play any DPS. They can, you know, the supports and tanks are a little bit more flexible.
And Ana Goats is sometimes pulled out to counter Zenyatta Goats because if one anti-nade denies that huge tranquility, and an in-nade is off of cooldown, as opposed to having the charging system that ultimates do. So it actually might be a good decision for them to go Ana, especially if you're just trying to bum rush them, because you can just nano your Ryan and like have a smack fest.
Start swinging. Do you see from Midland, looks like Woot and Scout have changed roles. One's now on the brick, Scout now on the Zarya there. So something to just maybe keep an eye on. Maybe a little too late of a change for the Warriors. There's the ante. Woot and Noro immediately taken down. Boise State, they just need the 1 tick here to go on to match point in this best of 3. There goes Shiloh and Scout. The Broncos right now have only lost a Diva mech. And there it is. That was that quick, and you mentioned it. The anti-nade just shut down everything that Midland wanted to do.
Because an anti-nade is a powerful ability when you're expecting an Ana.
Yep.
When you're not expecting an Ana at all, you get wiped. You get wiped exactly like they just did.
It is the GOATS Overwatch Collegiate Invitational. Boise State and Midland heading to map number 2. Just a quick reminder that the Rocky Mountain Warfare Redux is coming your way November 6th and 7th. Duos Warzone Tournament. Ton of fun. We had it at the start of October, and we had a ton of requests to bring it back, so this is your opportunity. You want to get registered, go to Idaho Army National Guard on any of their social media links there at the bottom of the page and get registered November 6th and 7th. Ton of fun. Cannot wait for that. And at least that one will be on the current Call of Duty. It's not like we're saying, hey, you got to go play, you know, like Black Ops 2, because that's what we're doing right now. We're saying, hey, guys, I know you really love 222. Let's go back to before that existed with GOATS.
Yes, absolutely. However, I will say that DPS probably appreciate the lower queue times that came before roll queue. I will say that. I will say that they probably appreciate that they didn't have to sit there for an hour.
Yeah, if you want to climb as DPS, your best bet is to find like a good tank and a support friend and be like, hey, do you want to queue with me? Because at least we can maybe go a little bit quicker. Yeah, I will say DPS players, I mean, it's a mixed bag, right? It's like, well, would you rather queue and then get stomped unless you play a support, or would you rather not be able to queue? It is sort of, you know, on one hand, I like playing Overwatch. On the other hand, I don't really like playing not DPS. So a very interesting time, but Boise State right now, they're saying, hey, we clearly, I don't know if we practiced this. This is interesting because Boise State is absolutely dominating, at least what we saw in that first map.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Goblin and Plato are doing an absolute amazing job of being off of roll because they're Zarya and Zenyatta, respectively, who can very easily be transformed into pseudo-DPS heroes with more utility. And it's just been absolutely amazing to watch Boise State as a whole just march into the enemy with no fear. Just march into the enemy and just win.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a key to this tournament is well, maybe some teams, maybe they have like a tank and support backup that they've opted in, but I do think it is going to be very key in how how do your DPS play when they are forced to play on a tank or a support or however you want to do it? As we go in, Boise State is on match point, as this is a best of 3 between Boise State and Midland, and it looks like Midland going to stick with Scout on the tank and what now on the support. Something they tried at the end of Kings Row. It didn't last very long, so I'll be curious to see on a longer map how that swap goes.
I wouldn't say, and it was due to the players there. I think they were just completely caught off guard, and they didn't have the time to make up for a mistake like that.
We saw on the last map, both teams got all the way through, but Boise State had 4 minutes on the clock in overtime, and Midland had 30 seconds. So maybe this swap, Midland will push faster. Maybe this swap, Boise State will absolutely run them over. It looks like Boise State has dropped the auto. Maybe that was just an overtime, quick cap kind of thing as the Broncos kick it off with the comp we saw last map, the full goats with the Zenyatta. And right now, a couple of shields staring at each other. Nothing too much. Now here goes Guac. He's going in. And they're immediately going to take down
Fantastic.
what? Asu's going to win that battle of the Briggs. Unfortunately, Asu will be taken down by Sky. Plato dropping incredibly low, but Chatter taken out of the mech and dying immediately. So Boise State picking up a couple kills, and Midland's going to retreat.
Midland is going to retreat. We see Goblin trying to get some cheeky charge there. He is losing the old battle to the Zarya currently, so that is something to be wary of, especially Asu's going to be back late this fight, too, so Boise State did a nice job of back there.
What dropping incredibly low once again, but it's Chatter who's forced out of the mech. Unfortunately, Guac is the first official elimination. Kel's now able to pick up Chatter. Nora will go down as well. The Transcendence from Plato will allow Boise State to stay alive until Asu got back in the fight. He'll pick up one. Boise State's going to get not a team kill, unfortunately. Very close.
Very close to a team kill. Didn't happen quite in as quick succession as Boise State might have wanted. But now that Asu's back, they've given up a little bit of ground in terms of payload, but they're not really... They're holding a little bit further back, but things are still looking absolutely great for them.
Yeah, looks like 3 ultimates on the line for Midland. There's the grab that is going to come out. Transcendence used, but it's not soon enough to save Watt, and a double Diva Bomb. As you mentioned, one of the things that Goats have a great way to deal with. Transcendence only going to keep the Zenyatta alive, and Boise State this time just going to get another 5K.
Another 5K, and I mean, Guac, unfortunately, is the sacrifice, is the price to pay there. But it was definitely for a noble cause. However, they do have to play passively just a little bit so that they don't get caught off guard.
They do have almost every ult available there for Midland. The rally's going to kick things off. AC uses his as well as Boise State retreats. Plato now going to throw down the Transcendence. They're still going to watch out for that Shatter and grab as Guac threw down his Shatter, picked up a couple. Unfortunately, Noro's Shatter going to completely whip. Double Sound Barrier going to be used. A grab coming out from both of them. I really have no idea what was going on there. If they were on top of each other, there was colors flying everywhere. And unfortunately for Boise State, in that confusion, they're going to lose 3 members. That is Goats to a T. Double grabs standing on top of each other and just explosions all over the place.
Yes, we even dropped a couple frames there just for a second because there was so much happening in such a short amount of space. 12 people collectively pressed Q, and Mac, they just rolled face on the keyboard, and we dropped frames.
Boise State, unfortunately, now has to try and hold. Rally from what going to be used, and Sky's going to throw down the Transcendence. Very, very concerned with these non-existent ultimates for Boise State. There's the Shadow that's going to come out onto what and Noro. Can't find anything more than some chip damage as Guac and Goblin have both gone down. Asu's going to use the rally, but it's clearly not enough to keep Boise State alive. Plato sitting on the Transcendence. Have to wonder if he might just hold it for a cap. As we see now, 2 more Broncos have been wiped. The large bagel makes it a 3rd, and Boise State going to have to concede this point, but very, very close for Midland.
Yes, and I mean, we expect it to be very, very close. These are 2 of the top teams in every other league, so why wouldn't they be 2 dominant teams in this league? However, I do believe that Boise State will come out on top here, as long as we all match Goblin's level of aggression. Don't let him get caught out.
Boise State alt advantage, but the grab up for Scout means they probably have to be careful. There it is, right on cue. Goblin's going to use his, and there's the frame drop once again as the Transcendence comes out. Guac's going to go for a swim alongside Noro, and Boise State going to lose 3. Midland just loses 2 as the rally comes out to try and keep the remaining members alive. Team Buff not going to hit anything as everyone had dropped off the 2nd story of that building, so Midland going to be able to keep pushing.
I'm not sure that the amazing action scene where the flying out the window into the river was worth it. But was it
It
cool?
looks super cool, though.
Yes, it absolutely looked super cool. And Boise State does get another full recontest here, so we'll see what they can do with that at an ultimate disadvantage.
And nothing but Shatter up for Boise State. Shatter Sound Barrier Diva Bomb up for Midland, but Diva Bomb's going to be forced out there as a mech reset as Shatter had nearly been taken out. Shatter for Block's going to pick up 2,
Wow.
and what's the first one who's taken down as Midland goes running for the hills. Now a Sound Barrier is going to be used. Logic Bagel says that seems fun. I'll throw it down as well as both members going to survive the original damage. Now Grab is going to come out from Goblin, and Boise State's able to take Shatter out of the mech. Kel loses his, but it's a worthy sacrifice as Boise State's going to pick up a 4K, and they're going to send Midland running back.
Wow, Boise State went into that with a Shatter and a Dream, and they did an absolutely amazing job against 3, almost 4 ultimates from Midland there. Now they just need to sustain, and they have their Diva back in their mech so they can hold more aggressively.
You see this, the Shatter up for Midland. There's a rally going to be started from Asu. Nora's going to throw down the Shatter, not going to land on anything. Grab Transcendence does come out for Midland, and Plato's going to throw down his own Transcendence, and everyone's going to stay nice and healthy, except for the graphics card on the computer, as it is really struggling to hold on in these 6v6 team fights. Boise State picks up 2 there. And now it's probably 1 or 2 last fights for Midland as the Broncos pushing around the corner. They have the Diva Bomb, but you have to wonder where they're going to fall back. It looks like they're just chasing far back. Actually, no, Goblin's going to go with the aggro grab there. They're going to pick up 2 more, and that's a huge stagger onto Midland.
And I mean, as you should. Goats Comp relies on being together. If you can stagger them so they're not together, you absolutely grab outside their spawn.
You have to wonder if Midland can even make it back to the payload in the next 40 seconds. Boise State can do all they can to body block. They've got Shatter Diva Bomb on the line. Diva Bomb rally and grab up for Midland. There's the rally. Diva Bomb's going to go flying in from Kel. Picks up 2. Grab has been used. The Shatter comes out as well. And Boise State with another excellent body block there. They're going to get a 4K. They're chasing down Shatter and Sky. Unless Shatter tries to go through the back door, you see it right there. He's trying to get over to the payload to keep them in overtime. The Broncos chasing him down. Oh, he missed. Actually, he got knocked off. Good job there by Asu. Knocking him into the water. I thought he just missed, but that was a great play by Asu. Rally has been used. No one from Midland's going to make it through this wall of Broncos in the next 4 seconds. They're just going to rack up their KDs as much as they want. Can't run away from the Diva Bomb. And Boise State. Wait, who got on the point?
Probably Lucio would be my guess there. That seems to be.
You see there, Sound Barrier and Transcendence have been used by Midland. Shiloh has been taken down. Now you see What comes charging in. He's trying to get back on the point. Boise State does have to retreat, so a nice play by Shiloh to keep us into overtime. Don't know how he made it through the Boise State blockade, but now with 2 members down, the Broncos going to retreat here, but they should have enough for 1 more hold.
They should have enough for 1 more hold, but they are going to lose a bit of distance there for the cheeky little Shiloh play that they weren't able, that they were a little bit too arrogant to see through.
I didn't even see him sneak through, but Boise State, now they're going to drop the aggro Sound Barrier. Rally comes out as well. Grab and Shatter going to be comboed. Asu going to be the only one hit by the Shatter and immediately taken down. Boise State going to survive everything else, waiting for their own ultimates to charge. They're very close on 3 of them. There's the Transcendence, first one to be used. There's the Diva Bomb used from Kel, waiting on the Shatter, lands on 2, 3. Boom goes Midland. They're going to lose 2 and a mech. Nora and Shatter very, very low. Scout at least gets 1 back, but Boise State now actually going to lose another member, these last 2 remaining members, but no!
Oh, that's a big oof. That's got to feel real bad. He was right there. He was very close, but he was getting body blocked and booped off of the point.
Combo C9 and Boise State body block, so they'll make good a little bit on that. Probably lost 20 or 30 meters there on a great play by Shiloh, so we'll have to see if that matters. But once again, it was Midland right at the very end was getting to those points. So Boise State, if they play like they did on Kings Row, should be there very quickly.
Oh, and absolutely, why wouldn't they play like they played on Kings Row? Boise State is Boise State, and one of the things that makes me super proud to be a Bronco fan is they are a very consistently amazing team. So I fully expect them to play as they played on Kings Row, or even better. The real question is Midland going to be able to get value out of their bomb? Because, I mean, so Shatter and Grab, Goats Comp is literally made to eat those. It's literally made to sustain through those. But like I said, you can't sustain through a Diva Bomb, and part of the problem that Midland is having is that they're not really getting any eliminations off of any Diva Bombs, partially because Shatter holds on to them for too long, and also partially because his positioning with the bombs isn't as good as Kel's.
Yeah, I'm not sure Shatter's picked up any eliminations with the bomb. If it has, it's been very limited, and as you mentioned, Kel's averaging about 2 almost every single time, and there's a couple times where Chatter, you know, we talked about it before with you bomb to reset your mech health, which is this comp not probably is worth it because, as you mentioned, it's one of the few ults that actually can get through the rest of the sustain.
It's one of the few ultimates, it's one of the few things in the game that can get through the amount of health that you're gonna have to burn through to kill somebody in a GOATS comp. Because it's not easy to kill anybody in a GOATS comp. That's the whole point.
You see Boise State came out
Well, as I say that.
Boise State came out with the Ana, and at least Noro went charging after Plato. Good job there by Guac and a couple of other members chasing him down and punishing him. So Boise State's going to pick up 3 eliminations. Chatter out of the mech makes it 4 as the respawns come out. Boise State with a nice clean push as they're working their way towards that first check.
Absolutely, and as we see, they're pushing up to hold so that they're hoping that Midland doesn't even get another recap here. They're holding really aggro.
Should be enough time, you think, for the Warriors to at least get around that corner. You look at the grab comparison, that's all you need to know.
Plato's just waiting for that.
94 to 30. Free-man Anti going to come out, and it spells doom for what? Double stun going to land as well as Noro and Scout go down. Chatter now forced out of the mech. Boise State did lose Goblin, who had the grab, so that probably would have been a clean win if he stays alive, but they'll take it as they're going to take down 3 members and Chatter forced out of the mech. I think he's going to just jump off. That looks like Guac's actually going to pick him up. Boise State, meanwhile, in the back line, they've capped the payload. 2-man Anti from Plato. He has been phenomenal on that Ana. Finally gets taken down, but Boise State 5 minutes left, and all they got to do is go 104 meters.
Yes, absolutely. Especially playing Ana in a GOATS comp. You can really just DPS and get cheeky antis as much as you want to without dying because you are not the only sustain. The comp has a ton of sustain in it already. And so you can just hide and wait for antis all day. And this fight, I sincerely hope we see a huge Nano as well as a huge Anti.
There's a 2-man Anti. Rally comes out as well as the grab. Nano is going to be used there by Plato. Looks like that one landed onto Kel, and he'll be the recipient of 2 kills. The rest of the team going to finish the job. It's a team kill for Boise State. I don't know if the payload's going to move fast enough, though. Midland might get one more recontest. It's going to be close.
Midland is going to get a staggered recontest coming into this. Their Zenyatta probably won't make it to the point with Tranquility. However, the rest of them probably will because they were picked relatively early in the fight.
They're going to get one. Looks like the Anti is going to miss. Might sleep onto Noro as a rally comes out from what? Grab going to be used there by Scout. Boise State only has the Diva Bomb to sustain, and Sky's going to use the Transcendence, and the Broncos going to lose 3. Kel, Diva Bomb. There's another 2 members taken down. Unfortunately for him and Goblin are the only 2 remaining members, so he's probably going to be taken out here. Boise State, here we go. You see Kel knocked out of the mech. He will be taken out. But the Broncos need just 4 meters in the next 3 minutes.
Boise State wasn't in position to kill the people that they needed to as they came to the cart, and so they got a full team fight, and because they used some ultimates and because they just target focused better, they did an amazing job of taking Boise State off that point. And now it's going to be relatively difficult for Boise State to push this because Midland has the high ground and they have to come through the low ground.
See the Shatter sound barrier up for Midland. A large bagel has his sound barrier, but he was taken out, so he's got to get into the fight. There's the grab that's going to be used. Shatter is going to land onto Asu, and both sound barriers going to come out, but that's a 6-man Shatter. Hard to miss when they're all grabbed. And Boise State's going to pick up the team kill, and that is going to do it. The Broncos going to cap that one.
Very clean team kill, very clean Bronco victory. They had a little bit of a hiccup there with Plato flanking behind, but unable to get the anti-value. And Boise State is indeed diabolical, just as we hoped they would be in the diabolical GOATS comp fish.
Yeah, I mean, as we see back here, we watch the play of the game. I mean, I don't want to be mean, but it's really hard to miss 6 people when they're stuck and they can't move in front of them. That's all I'm going to say. It was a really great play, don't get me wrong, but Stella here, who you can't see here, I'll put her on camera. Where'd she go? Whoop. See, Stella here, she could have hit that Shatter. I mean...
Listen, Stella can do a lot. That's why I brought her in today. Stella is a very capable stuffed animal. I believe you're underestimating her fish.
I might be, but still, a huge shout out to Boise State picking up that first win. So they are going to move on to the next round. They'll play the winner of Kent State and Iowa State in the semifinals, and then they would move on to the finals. But I mean, I'm really impressed by, we talked about it. The two DPS players for Boise State have just seamlessly transitioned. I mean, if for whatever reason Blizzard said, you know what, roll queue didn't work, let's just go back and hope Goats doesn't come back to life, Boise State would be more than ready to play Goats anytime.
Oh, yes, absolutely, as we're seeing here. And they seem to be having a lovely time playing Goats, if the shouts are anything to go by. We are seeing a little bit of Plato's DPS side hurt him a little bit there, because he was behind Midland's entire team. That little fight where they got grabbed and they lost it, he was behind Midland's entire team. And I'm looking at the backs of these people, and I'm like, wait. That's not Boise State. What are you doing?
I will say Boise State's tendencies from actual competition, especially on Kings Row, there were a ton of times where they're defending. I'm like, wait, why are they attacking right now? What is going on? So, and it's something that we see them do a lot. They're big into flanks in the NACE competitions and NECC. So, hard to break those habits, but it has paid off. I'll be curious to see if the next team the Broncos face can punish them.
Yes, because, it's hard to turn around because you lose the ability to pressure frontline. But if there's an Hannah behind you with 106 HP, it might be worth it for one of you to turn around.
Yeah, Boise State they were the only ones who deviated as much as they could onto the Ana. It was just the same comp the whole time from Midland. Do you have any nominations for the action-packed ICCU player of the game?
I would like to say Kel, because he got bomb value with every ultimate, and bomb is a very, very telegraphed ultimate. It's simultaneously very, very hard to get value on, but super important in a Goats comp, because Goats can eat the damage for basically any other ultimate in the game. So I believe Kel deserves some recognition for that, because he was doing an amazing job. And while he didn't eat many grabs, he made up for it in kills.
Yeah, I don't know. I know Woot had a couple of them. Don't know how many he had. But, yeah, exactly. That was the one thing. Like I said, I don't know if Chatter had any any Diva Bomb kills at all for Midland there. I will say, though, I know on the bright side, we are going to see tank and support players of the games as we take a look at some of the replays here between Boise State and Midland.
And, we see tank players of the game all of the time. We see Icy and Quidgeable very, very often for Orange team. However, for Blue, it's usually Goblin or Plato or somewhere around there.
Yeah, sharing the love. And, as we talked about, just the play of Kel with the Diva Bomb value, we're not going to see one here, but, that was a very big reason why Boise State was victorious.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because it's hard to kill somebody in a Goats comp. That's the point. So when you manage to kill not one, but two people, that's a third of their team. You push on that, you win on that. And Kel's the reason that we were winning on that. There we go. That's fantastic bomb right there.
Yeah, gets two supports and a mech. And I will say, big shout out to Shiloh for getting those extra 30 meters. He ended up making Boise State work for it. Unfortunately, there they did have a little bit of a C9 at the very end. It is the Goats Collegiate Invitational. We're on to the semifinals now. Boise State going to be taking on Kent State here to a chance to go to the finals. And right now, the Golden Flash is going to have their work cut out for them because the Broncos look unstoppable, and it is going to be the same map. So it'll be Kings Row, Rialto, and then potentially Ilios in a Game 3 if needed. So a lot of Kings Row tonight, but the way Boise State played against Midland, they're totally fine with that.
Oh, yes, I totally think they're absolutely fine with that. I think Guac is an amazing Reinhardt player, and I think that shows not only in his shatter value, but in denying the enemy team shatter value. Because we've seen some huge, amazing shatters on Kings Row, but that is always minimalized if Guac is on your Reinhardt.
Now, I'll be curious to see if Boise State has a little bit of a harder time. They did go to overtime against Midland. Unfortunately, the Warriors only had 50 seconds. Boise State had 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yes.
And, it was just kind of an easy romp for Boise State. And I will be curious to see when and where Plato pulls out the Ana, because we saw it in overtime on Kings Row. We saw it attacking on Rialto. So I'm really curious to see if it's just attacking or maybe they're going to bring it out, or maybe it'll be Kent State who brings it out and gives a little bit of variety to the Goats meta, as much as they can.
I think the point of the Ana is to be an unexpected kind of like fight win, team win, because that's exactly, she handed them first point on a silver plate. She really did. Because Ana's really, really easy to block with a Goats comp if you're not either behind them, which Plato spends a lot of time doing, or if you're not ready for the Ana. Because, I mean, your Zarya can bubble the people who have already been antied. Your Reinhardt can just shield it, because shields aren't paper in this meta. Or the biggest threat is your D.Va can just eat it. Ana nades should be really hard to hit in GOATs. I believe we will only be running an Ana if we believe we can get unexpected value off of it.
Or maybe it'd be something then that we'd see a team run against Boise State, because as we've talked about how powerful the Broncos are, it's one of those things where you can catch them off guard. So we will see how Boise State fares here on Kings Row Part 2. As we mentioned, this is the Collegiate Overwatch GOATS Invitational. 8 teams entered, 4 teams are left. The Broncos and the Golden Flashes at the top side of the bracket taking on each other right now on Kings Row. Boise State defending once again. So we'll see if Kent State has much success as Midland did in at least getting all 3 points.
I would like to see Boise State just hold them at .1, but that's just me because I'm a gigantic Boise State fan. It would be much more interesting to cast if Kent State got further than that.
That is the can't think of the word, the dilemma, there we go, that I run into all the time. Like, I really want like a Boise State 3-0 win, but at the same time, like overtime and back and forth is just a lot more fun to cast. So either way, as long as the Broncos win, I'll take it. As we see right there, early hold for Boise State. Plato dropping low, got the Orbit Discord on him. Dixon giving the first elimination. Lord Hades right behind him. He's got to be careful as he is dangerously low. He's trying to hide behind his own shield and the shield of Wild Thing. As he gets the Orbit Discord, Kel taken out of the mech. So now Boise State on the backside as they're going to lose Asu, but Wild Thing and Buzz are both taken out. Vixen dropping low once again. Might get his second death less than a minute into the game. He's going to retreat to spawn to heal towards full. And Boise State with a great start there as Kel barely hangs on, and it's a retreat for Kent State.
Great start there. They got the early pick, and then they went in on it, and they target focused better.
Shatter going to be used there by Wild Thing. Going to land on the Kel and Plato. We're going to see the grab come out from Goblin as Lord Hades is going to be taken down. Plato gets another one, and now a grab is going to come out from Gold Dust. Most Transcendence is going to be used, so there's not a lot of damage that can come out from either side. It's a retreat back to the spawn for Kent State as Wolfwind goes down. Buzz forced out of the mech. He'll be taken down as well.
They are probably trying to stagger him to get themselves more time because a team can't push if their D.Va's at a mech. We've seen Boise State act less aggressive when their D.Va is a baby, and especially when you stagger them, 5 seconds after the fight. That's going to take a lot of time off of the clock, and that was a very 5-head play by Boise State there. Very big brain.
Yeah, I honestly just thought he was going to die to the AoE damage, but he did survive. Rally comes out for both Lord Hades and Asu. D-Bomb going to be used there by Buzz, but much like last time, no value for the opposing team. As now Boise State picks up Buzz and Wolfwind. They're even sitting on the D-Bomb bomb as Gold Dust will be able to pick up Asu. The Broncos now, they're going to grab right on top of the spawn. They're taking down Lord Hades, Vixen, and Gold Dust. Wild Thing's going to join in on the party, and the Broncos now an excellent hold. I'm not even sure Kent State's made it around that first chokehold.
They have not thus far. Their Reinhardt did because he got grabbed on the other side of the wall, but that was a very intentional play on the side of Boise State. And now Boise State's setting up for a huge shatter, and I do hope that we get it. We should be a little bit wary of that Zarya grab, though, and it seems like we are with how low she is.
Well, she can't grab, but she's dead, so Boise State takes care of the only thing they were maybe worried about on that fight, as they now are going to start running down Kent State. Wild Thing going to be the next target. Wolfwind dropping low, as well as Buzz, who gets out of the mech. Unfortunately, he can't quite be sniped, but he is going to have to wait for that mech to build back up in spawn. And Boise State right now with a great hold here. Now Buzz comes out. He's going to be taken out, and they're probably going to have to wait for the reset.
They are going to have to wait for the full reset. Goblin's doing a little bit of a BM there, grabbing outside of their spawn for the second time. But when you're holding this dominantly...
What else can you do? I mean, there's no point letting them leave the spawn. There's no point letting them set up for a good grab. So Boise State absolutely punishing Kent State.
They have 5 ultimates, and they can't really get a ton of value out of them if they're inside their spawn doors. So big brain plays.
All right, grabs up. There's the rally. Grab from Gold Dust is going to land this time, but a Transcendence is going to keep most people on Boise State alive. Asu goes down. We're going to see Shatter come out from Guac. Both Sound Barriers going to be used there to cancel out most of the damage. As we see the deep bump from Kel also used, couldn't quite find any value. Now Boise State has their own grab. They're going to use it. Wolfwind's going to drop the Transcendence, though. Guac will be taken out. As the amount of healing Kent State has is going to keep them alive. Goblin low in the corner. He will finally fall with 27 seconds on the clock. Kent State might have found enough to get the payload.
Kent State takes it with 5 ultimates in one fight. It took them all 5 and even some extra picks there, and Boise State being a little bit too aggressive for that to happen. There it is, guys. Goats comp. The reason it was so overpowered is it can survive through 5 ultimates almost perfectly.
Buzz, the only ultimate up right now. There's the Diva Bomb. Unfortunately, it's going to get a large bagel. I thought the shield was going to be enough. It was in that back corridor. Boise State won't answer back, though. They're going to take down Gold Dust, who had the grab available. If he had used it in time, might have been able to flip the fight for Kent State. Dixon going down as well, but the respawns are close enough. Bronco's got to be careful. Wild Thing now taking it down. The Golden Flash is retreating back into their spawn. It's not enough. Lord Hades falls as well, and Boise State now setting up for another quick hold.
Boise State is setting up to hold outside of their spawn again. However, Kent State does have 1 minute and 58 seconds to build up all of their ultimates again, just to use them.
Double rally going to come out. Grab and Diva Bomb are going to be used. Boise State's going to pick up 4. Make it 5. Wolfwin, the only one who's trying to get back into his spawn. He'll do just that. And now the Broncos just have Shattered Transcendence up.
Just have Shattered Transcendence up, but that's proven to be more than enough, especially with Guac setting up for the sneaky flanks there.
A little bit of a sneaky shatter, but unfortunately for him, Kent State, either they wised up to it or they realized that what they were doing weren't working. They're going to sneak all the way around onto the payload. Transcendence used by Wolfwood. Maybe a panic there. Going to be comboed with Gold Dust grab. Plato's going to use his own Transcendence. There's a Shatter going to land onto 2, but Wild Thing's going to answer right back with a 2-man Shatter of his own. Everyone's still alive. Boise State right now. Now there's their own grab coming out. Dixon's going to drop down the sound barrier. Not have to save Wolfwind or himself. Lord Hades, Wild Thing going to fall down. Buzz and Gold Dust probably going to join in on the party, and the Broncos get a team kill, and it's one last chance for Kent State.
One last chance for Kent State just outside of their spawn, too. We do see Guac still holding on to that Shatter, holding on to another Shatter, and we see Kel 30 to his next grab.
Rally's going to come out from both sides. Shatter going to be blocked this time by Kent State, so they're going to be able to hold on through that. They do have the Diva Bomb if they want to use it. They're not going to need it to pick up Guac, and now Boise State is going to get 2-man Shattered. Ace's going to go down. Diva Bomb can't find anything, but it's not going to matter as the Broncos now down 3, make it 4. Kel's taken out of the mech, and Kent State's going to be able to get some extra meters here before Boise State probably comes in and shuts them down.
Yes, and hopefully Boise State does come in and shut them down and they don't get all the way to point 2. However, Kent State's been doing a really good job of clutching it on those last fights there. They've been doing a good job at getting the value and the picks they need when they need them. Not necessarily before that, but when it really counts.
Yeah, Midland was usually capping with about a minute left. Kent State has been even closer than that. Grab's going to come out from Gold Dust and from Goblin. Both Transcendents going to be used there, and unfortunately Boise State's going to lose 2 members. The Diva Bomb found no value. Guac dropping low. He'll be taken out by Lord Hades. A large bagel going to fall as well. Asu's going to go down, and just as you said, D'Angelo, when the pressure's on, Kent State has found an extra gear.
Oh yes, absolutely. They've found an amazing way to use their ultimates, and Boise State is having a rough time with getting grabbed, shattered, murdered every fight they walk into.
Just the Shatter up for Boise State. Lord Hades has the rally, and he'll pop it right on cue. Boise State going to try and contest here in overtime. 1 fight and they're done. 3-man Shatter is going to land. Wild Things is going to land just onto Plato. Both taken low, but they should be able to sustain. Sound barrier comes out from a large bagel. Vixen doesn't have it yet. Now he does. Gonna slam it down, but not in time to save Wild Thing. Buzz does get 1 with the Diva Bomb. Grab's going to be used there by Goblin, and now the hammer swinging begins. Boise State picks up 3. Buzz and Wolfwood taken out of the mech and dying, and Boise State probably a little closer than we thought at times, but they're going to get the hold right before that second point.
Kent State has they have a knack for getting absolutely clutch ultimates and clutch kills when it really, really matters, but unfortunately it was not enough to stop Boise State from clean wiping them there.
So we'll see how Boise State does. Don't think they're going to be in overtime this time for Boise State, and I'd have to say, based on what we saw from the Boise State defense, they should get through this pretty quickly because, I mean, Kent State, as we talked about, it took them until like the last 30 seconds before they really found this extra gear where they started actually pushing and winning fights.
Yes, and it is much harder to find that extra gear and get use out of that extra gear when you're defending. Because it's only going to take a couple of really clean fight wins on the side of Boise State, probably about 4, maybe 5, and I do think that is absolutely within Boise State's capability. I think they should rush in, see how much value they can get, see what ultimates they can build up, and then just continue to roll from there.
To see Plato once again on that Ana. Something that Boise State is, as you mentioned, they pull it out when it's one quick pointer, when they don't need to go all the way down and they just need to get to a certain parking spot, and it has really done wonders for them. So I'll be curious to see how Kent State handles it.
Well, if this goes anything like it did with Midland, Plato will get a huge anti, and they'll be, and I mean, why wouldn't he get a huge anti? Kent State isn't necessarily expecting him.
Kick things off. Kent State going to hold right around the corner. Orbit Discord going to land onto Kel. Sleep going to go on to Gold Dust. Kent State know there's an Ana in play now. Anti hasn't been used quite yet, as a large bagel's going to be the first one taken down. Ace is going to fall as well. Boise State is going to full retreat back to spawn. Block falls, and an excellent start for Kent State.
An excellent start for Kent State indeed with that early pick on Bagel. That was really unfortunate, and then they proceeded to just push when we were down one, and we didn't have the Lucio speed boost to run away. We'll see if Plato will be able to set up for a good anti this fight.
I think it's the first time Plato's actually died on that Ana. It was played really well against Midland in very brief stints, so Kent State at least has to feel confident for now. We see no Anti has landed quite yet. Wild Thing is low, but he's going to be able to get that shield back up. Shatter is online for him and Guac. They're both going to go down, and it's a two-man Shatter on both sides. There's an Anti just on the Wild Thing as the Transcendence comes out. Goblin's going to use the grab. Boise State right now just down Asu. And there's the Nano that's going to be used this time on the Goblin. Wild Thing has been anti once again, but a nice sound barrier going to come out from Vixen and a rally from Lord Hades. And Boise State trying to find an opening. Shields have faded, but unfortunately Goblin's life has as well. The Broncos going to start retreating there. And Kent State has been more than ready on defense. A three-man anti comes out. That might be enough. Lord Hades gets taken down. Wild Thing will fall as well. And Boise State on the back of that Ana, who was taken out with a rally from Asu coming out as well. Swap over to the Zenyatta, but it was that Ana three-man ante that churned that.
Yes, and they pushed too close to our spawn when our respawns were coming out. So they pushed too close. They should have just let us go at that point. They wouldn't have gotten antied, and they wouldn't have had Asu back in the fight.
Well, it's going to come out from Buzz, not going to find anything. Large Big, we're going to throw down the sound barrier. Shatter lands on to 3, but once again, Kel's going to get value on that Diva Bomb. But unfortunately, Buzz is going to eat the grab, so it's just Gold Dust who's able to use his. Combo with the Transcendence from Wolfwind, and just like that, Boise State, no grab, gets team killed.
Boise State, no grab, gets team killed. Indeed, that is really unfortunate that Boise State was not able to get the value out of it. But good for Kent State that their pushing too far didn't actually hurt them too much, as they're still holding the point.
That Golden Flashes have been extremely solid on this defense effort. We're going to see the rallies come out from both. Double Shatter going to be landed by Wild Thing. He will pay for it with his life. The Shatter's going to land on 2-3 from Guac, and Transcendence from Plato should help Boise State as Lord Hades and Vixen fall. Buzz going to get taken out of the mag. He will immediately be taken down. Gold Dust the next target. Wolfwood not going to survive either. And Boise State's going to unlock the payload, and they know what their target is.
Yes, they know what their target is indeed, and Kent State didn't protect, that Reinhardt didn't play safe enough, they didn't protect him. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but they knew that Glock had Shatter. And Shatter is relatively useless in GOATs unless the enemy Reinhardt is dead or his shield is broken. And so to play to a Reinhardt swing condition like that, you have to be very, very careful.
Both grabs are online. Buzz has eaten one already. Kel has not had any luck, but it's not going to matter. Boise State is going to land, and so is Gold Dust. Unfortunately, they're going to trade 1 for 1. Transcendence and Sound Barrier are going to be used, and it's right in time to eat the three-man Shatter that did come out from Guac. Large Big. Oh, no, he's so close. He's so close.
He should be able to make it before the Zarya melts him down, but it is absolutely going to be scary because that Zarya is probably sitting at 90 to 100 charge. I mean, as most Zaryas in GOATS comps are. I mean, if you approach a Zarya in the GOATS comp, she's probably above 90 charge, and it's probably really scary unless you're one of the 500 to 600 HP tanks.
Yeah, it was a really great sound barrier and Transcendence from Kent State. It ate up a three-man Shatter that Guac was able to land. So be curious to see when we unpause how that sound barrier is going to go, because a Large Bagel is literally mid-flight slamming down his boombox, megaphone, whatever you want to call it. So We do have a pause here in the GOATS Collegiate Invitationals. Boise State and Kent State in the semifinals. The Golden Flashes, 110 meters on Kings Row, our first map. The Broncos right now, about 2 minutes on the clock. They're about 2/3 of the way there. So it'll be really close because Kent State had a really solid hold. It wasn't as good as Boise State's, but, I mean, there was only about a minute and a half on the clock when Boise State finally got the payload.
Absolutely. They did some amazing things on their hold. They were getting the picks on Guac and they were getting the picks on Goblin. And if you lose, those two people are the two most important people to a GOATS comp. The Zarya is the most important because she's your main damage dealer, because there's not really a ton the rest of the GOATS members can do in the way of damage. I mean, Lucio can help you run into them and do that sort of damage. But Zarya is really there to make up for the 2 DPS slots. And so when she goes down, it's already really, really hard to kill things in a GOATS comp. It's near impossible without your Zarya unless you have a Diva Bomb online that you might not even be able to get value out of because it's such a telegraphed, positional-based ult.
Yeah, and this has been a better Diva play from Kent State than what we saw from Midland, because not only has he eaten a graph, he has gotten at least 1 kill with the Diva Bomb, which is something we talked about that the Warriors Diva player wasn't quite able to find. So this has sort of evened out, and probably been a big reason why Boise State has slowed down in their push is that the Diva play is a lot more even this time than it was in the first round.
The Diva play is a lot more even. We're getting grabs eaten a lot more, which is probably just due to Goblin's inexperience on Zarya. He doesn't necessarily know when he's telegraphing or that sort of thing because he's a DPS main, which helps in some ways, but doesn't necessarily in the Diva versus Zarya. And we've seen a large bagel get picked by the Diva Bomb quite a lot also as well. The Diva almost seems to be going for him with her bombs is what I started thinking after about like the 3rd time she killed him, because Lucio is the most likely member to get Diva bombed out of a GOATS comp just by itself, because he's the least likely to be playing behind a shield. He's probably off wall riding, doing his own thing somewhere. So like you see the entire team safe, but then you see the Lucio die and you're like, where was the Lucio? I have no clue. And I think that they are taking advantage of that.
Yeah, we'll be curious to see when we come back from the pause if Boise State can punish the fact that it was a double support ult used to survive the Shatter Grab. They used the Transcendence and the Sound Barrier. So the Broncos should have ult advantage when we do come out of the pause. As we said, is the Overwatch Collegiates GOAT Invitational. Boise State and Kent State going at it in the semifinals. Mid-sound barrier from a large bagel. We had a pause come out, so hopefully we're going to be able to get that fixed up very soon and see if the Broncos can advance to the finals. The finals will be a best of 5, so it will be a little bit longer of a series. Still the same map order, but right now Boise State, Kings Row has been phenomenal for them. We're going to go to Rialto next, no matter what happens, and then Ilios would be game 3 of this series. So Boise State, not going to say well on their way to the finals, but they're definitely starting to put something together that makes me say, okay, can Kent State really keep staying toe-to-toe with them?
They've definitely put on an amazing performance, and I do believe that they will be the ones in the finals. I don't know. I'm just a Boise State fan. I've got a rep for Boise State, obviously. So I do think that they have a good chance of going in there. However, Kent State is putting up a good amount of resistance, much more than we saw in the very beginning and much more than anybody expected. They are doing an amazing job at not only clutching the fights, but getting more value of their ultimates than Boise State is. And when you're running a mirror comp,
yes, when you're running a mirror comp, as you talked about it when we've even seen it 2-2-2, it comes down a lot to player skills. We come out of the pause, and just like that, Boise State has taken down 2 members of Kent State. Buzz trying to run away on that Diva, and will get taken out of the mech and immediately take it down. And Boise State, unfortunately, not going to be able to finish it off here, but they're going to get some nice pushing.
Boise State, yet again, limited by the speed of the payload and not the skill of their players.
That payload, you know, unfortunately, it's very uncooperative at times. You do see it's Kel who's back there holding on the payload. Nice pick by Wolfwind onto Plato. The matchup of the Zenyatas. Lord Hades going to pop down the rally. Boise State's going to retreat as Buzz going to throw out the Diva Bomb. Doesn't find anything as Guac and Ace, who have been taken down. It's like a large bagel just chilling in a corner.
Me too. He's just going to wait behind the enemy team for the push there. All right. That
nobody knows he's there.
Nobody does know he's there, but he's also probably not going to get a ton of value where he currently is. So, like, I don't know. Saving your death stats.
Oh, he's pushing the payload. We see off screen that the grab has come down. You can see the silhouette. It looks like it's Lord Hades who's running back. Meanwhile, back in on the fight, Transcendence and the Shatter going to be used, and Boise State's going to be able to pick up Wild Thing. So a really good job there by a large bagel. As the grab comes down, 4-man Shatter comes out. Boise State's going to get a 4K, make it 5, and that on the back of a sneaky play by a large bagel should be enough.
That is absolutely enough there. The sneaky play by Bagel was enough in and of itself. When your Brig rushes to leave your Reinhardt and leaves the front line, that Reinhardt's going to get messed up, and that's exactly what we saw, and Boise State took huge advantage of that.
Play of the game on Goblin. Once again, I know last time it was at least a 6-man Shatter, but it was thanks to a grab, and this is Ghostbetter right there. He's just punching people to death. Woohoo! This is why we have 2-2-2 right there. By the way, that is exactly why we have 2-2-2 if you're very confused, because it was just he threw down a grab, and then I don't know what else happened besides laser beams. So it is the Overwatch Goats Invitational. Boise State and Kent State heading to Rialto. The Broncos on match point, 1 game away from going to the finals.
Boise State on match point, and I do believe that they will be able to pull out the victory for this next map as they did before. However, Kent State also has a good shot at this. They've been using their ultimates better than Boise State has. And while unfortunate to watch, if they're going to win, they're going to have to keep that up.
Just a reminder, Boise State Esports is always looking for talented players, production, and broadcasters. Top talent, along with good grades and eligibility, can earn you scholarships as well. Sign up today by visiting boisestate.edu/esports for more information. Hey, you know what? Maybe, a couple years from now, you could come back and say, participate in a GOATS tournament because you weren't in college when the GOATS meta was around and you really, really, really want to take part of it, because that's what we're doing right now, a flash to the past with the GOATS Invitational. So who knows? Maybe you could have a GOATS Invitational. Maybe, 2 years from now, we'll have to have the 2-2-2 Invitational, depending on what changes are around the corner for Overwatch in the next few years.
Depending on what else they do to their game. I do think the Overwatch devs are attempting to make it a balanced game. I don't think that they know what to do with Brig. I don't think that they know what to do with Brig at all.
She hasn't seen a lot of play in 2-2-2.
No, she hasn't, because they either completely destroy her and make her unplayable, or she's the birth of goats. So she either completely breaks the game or is completely borderline unplayable, and there is no in between. And Overwatch actually has a bit of a penchant for doing that to their supports just in general too, because they did that to Mercy as well.
Attackers incoming in 30
there's very few games that get balance right. One of the hardest things to do, especially when a new champion comes out, new hero, new operator, you name it, 90% of the time you're like, why? Why is that out? How did this make it through beta or PBE or whatever you want to call it? But still, this is why, and because from my understanding, Brig was invented to stop dive because that's what was dominating the meta at the time. It was an attempt, but it didn't work as we kick things off here on Rialto. Boise State in orange this time, Kent State in blue. Boise State once again with Diana. 2-man Anti going to land onto Vixen and Buzz, and it's Lord Hades who gets the first elimination onto Asu, but Boise State answers right back. Unfortunately, that's all they're going to get is Wild Thing picks up a couple. The Broncos trying to salvage what they can, but they're going to have to go back to spawn.
Boise State should not have lost that fight. That was an anti at almost point-blank range. We didn't speed in and target focus hard enough, and that did end up costing us some time in a fight.
See a large bagel, and Kel going to pick up 2, and unfortunately, Buzz gets knocked out of the air and onto the water. Mechs don't like water, and Kel's going to do the same thing, but Boise State with a nice little win there to start pushing.
Yes, Kel was able to take one fight off of them. Can't say, and they shouldn't have been able to do that, by the way. That was a misplay on the side of Boise State because we had 3 of their members antied. But now Boise State is looking relatively comfortable at a significant ultimate advantage going into this next fight for the point.
Shatter from Wild Thing going to be eaten. Asu, though, will still be taken down. Walk going to go down as well, and now Boise State, unfortunately, probably not going to find much value. See Nancy on the gold. Dustin, a grab comes out from Goblin, but a nice transcendence there from Wolfwit. Shut down anything Boise State wants to do. Nano's going to be used on the Goblin from Play-Doh. Sound barrier is up, but the Broncos right now haven't found much. And there's a sound barrier from a large bagel into the rally from Lord Hades. There's the rally from Asu, and a grab going to be used by Gold Dust. And everyone's going to be nice and healthy coming out of it. Wild Thing, another shatter going to come down. Cal going to throw the Diva Bomb, won't find anything. Plato has been taken out from Boise State as they try and push around this corner to the first checkpoint. There's Buzz now going to throw in his Diva Bomb as Boise State retreats. Plato has swapped over. Goblin now, there's a second grab of this fight, and it's going to be enough to take down Lord Hades. Wolfman is incredibly low. He will fall. Gold Dust does get one revenge onto Asu, and a sound barrier from Vixen's going to keep everyone alive for now. Shields have started fading, and Wild Thing with that Orbit Discord has to be careful. They'll get hit in the face with a giant hammer. A nice pin from Ngwak is going to take out Buzz from the mech, and Boise State going to win a fight that saw a lot of ultimates.
Yeah, what was the ultimate count for that? I stopped counting at 10.
I mean, we almost saw I think we saw 2 shatters from Wild Thing. I know that.
And then we saw 2 grabs, and then we saw a plethora of support ultimates.
Which, speaking of that, Boise State, they just capped the first point, and by the way, the whole rest of the team's on second point, running down Kent State. They take down Buzz.
I'll get him.
And Boise State, they're just clearing room for that payload because it's going to be about a minute before the payload is even in sight at this point.
Yes, absolutely. Boise State, once again, limited not by the skill of their players, but by the speed of the payload, which is truly an amazing thing to watch.
Big grab going to be used there by Gold Dust. Boise State is going to lose Goblin and Plato. Nice rally from Asu trying to keep the team alive. Guac will fall, but like we said, the payload's not even in sight. There we go. We finally see it. So not too much time wasted by Boise State in the long run.
Not too much at all. After that one first point win, they got all the way halfway to second point, and they're still looking pretty good with almost grab and shatter. However, I mean, Goats is made to eat through those ultimates, so they'll have to be careful about how they get value.
Rally from Lord Hades. Buzz going to use the Diva Bomb. Shatter's going to come out from Guac. Not going to land, but Wild Thing's going to find 2. Both Transcendences have been used. The rally still up for Kent State. Now it fades. The Goblin's going to throw down the grab. Sound barrier used by a large bagel and Vixen. And it's Asu, the only one who's being taken out. Now Wolfwind will go down. Kel's going to be able to remech there. And Boise State just holding strong as we talked about. Goats able to eat through so many of these ultimates. Another shatter from Wild Thing. It's a 2-man stun. Unfortunately for the rest of Kent State, their members were falling as they're going to lose 4. Buzz out of the mech should make it 5. And the Broncos should be able to keep pushing.
Asu is standing far too close to their Reinhardt. We've seen him get picked out a number of times. And for as annoying as she is, especially when she was launched to Reinhardt, Reinhardt is still considered counter to her.
Yeah, that has been the one difference that I think you did a good job pointing out there has been the Brig play. There's the rally. The Transcendence going to be used to counter that grab from Gold Dust. Now Lord Hades going to throw down his own rally, but Goblin and Guac don't care. They're going to pick up Wild Thing and Lord Hades. Wolfwind joins in as well. Vixen will fall. Gold Dust as well. Can Buzz get in down in time? He will. Team kill. And second point for Boise State.
Second point for Boise State indeed, which is further than they pushed it, which is further than Kent State pushed it. Now we're just seeing how quickly we can cap third point, it would appear.
That was last game. Kent State hasn't attacked yet.
Oh yes, you are absolutely correct.
But this is the farthest we've seen, as you mentioned. Midland couldn't quite get the second point. There's a 2-man shatter going to come out. Buzz going to throw down the Diva Bomb. It's going to pick up 2. Sound barrier's not enough to keep Boise State alive, but once again, now we finally see the payload, so Boise State not too worried. They will lose some time as they all die, but once again, the Broncos very aggressive when they're attacking.
Very aggressive when they're attacking, and I mean, that's the whole point of Goats. That's what it's made for. You press the W key and you don't let up on the W key until you're sent back to spawn or to press Q.
See now, Boise State all respawn. They're back in the fight. They're going to have to go into a Transcendence and a Sound Barrier with just the Diva Bomb, but their own Transcendence and Rally are coming up very soon, and the Rally is going to kick things off from Asu. Boise State holding barely on. Rally comes out. Sound Barrier Transcendence all used by Kent State. Let's throw a grab in for good measure. Boise State tries to shatter, but unfortunately they're not able to keep Kell alive. But now Goblin's going to throw down his own grab. 3-man shatter going to come out from Wild Thing, and the team's going to trade 1 for 1. Goblin takes down Lord Hades as well. And Boise State holding on as Goblin's showing that DPS muscle, picks up a triple kill. Buzz going to throw down the Diva on the Broncos. Will smartly line of sight that one. The team's remaining pretty even here as Buzz will get Kel out of the mech. Goblin taken low, but it's not going to stop him. He gets Buzz out of the mech before he falls. And unfortunately for Boise State, they're going to have to reset.
Goblin committed Grav to a lost fight and got a lot of kills, but it wasn't necessarily for a lot. And Boise State has got to be very careful going into this next fight without their Zarya. This next fight for the point without their Zarya.
Broncos still pushing. You see Kent State, they are going to have Grab, they're going to have Transcendence. Boise State's going to have Transcendence, Sound Barrier, and Grab Shatter are very close. And there's the grab from Gold Dust. Going to be a Shatter used by Guac. Not going to find anything. Wild Thing's going to find a two-man Shatter of his own. Grab has now been used by Boise State. And there's a Sound Barrier coming out from a large bagel as well. That's going to be enough for them to pick up two. Buzz dropping low, forced out of the mech. Gold Dust's next target. Wolfwind's going to join him in the grave. It's just Vixen left alive as Asu throws down the rally for good measure. Wild Thing, who died so early, is able to get back alive, but he's not able to get to the point. So Boise State, only 34 seconds left, but they're able to go all 3 points.
Yes, they were able to go all 3 points, which is the furthest we've seen tonight so far. We'll see if Kent State will be able to do the same thing. I do believe that they are a match for Boise State, so I do believe that they will be able to. I do believe that Boise State is being tested by this map, and this will come down to not just who uses their the ultimates better, but also who has higher individual skill on every hero.
Yeah, I mean, as we talked about in the pause, I mean, this has been just a smaller diva gap between Kel and Buzz than we saw between Kel and Chatter, because Buzz is getting kills with the Diva Bomb. He didn't need any grabs, but that's been the one big difference, and that is why Boise State has been slower to capping. They still got all three, so it's not like, you know, Kent State put up this miraculous defense, but the play of Buzz has gone a long way as to how Kent State has a chance here to have a decent time bank in overtime.
Boise State has also been slower because ASU has been just barely too close to their Reinhardt. Briggs' range is actually a little bit further than Reinhardt's, and Reinhardt does a lot of damage to her, and we've seen ASU get picked out quite a few times by the Reinhardt, which we haven't seen in the past from him. So I think he might, just because of how well Boise State played last match, I think the skill of the team might be getting to him a little bit, and he's definitely getting caught out.
See what Kent State can do. If they cannot get all 3 points, Boise State will win the match and the map, and they will go on to the finals here of the Collegiate Overwatch Goats Invitational. Boise State has come out with the Ana once again, and Anti's going to land on the Vixen, but he's going to be able to just barely survive. Boise State has a couple members low, but it's Kent State's health bars that are starting to bleed. Shatter comes out from Guac, only lands on the Lord Hades. Him and Wild Thing are both going to be taken down, and Boise State's going to send the rest of the members of Kent State packing. Gold does pick off. Everyone else should make it back to spawn.
Yes, and now we see a good, clean Boise State hold on that bridge, and Boise State is... They use their Shatter, but now they have to weather Wild Thing's Shatter, and we are massively leading the grab.
Grab's going to come out from Goblin. It's going to be able to pick up a couple members. Did see for a brief moment Buzz swapped over to the Ana and then back to the Diva. Don't know if it was to reset his mech or not, but it will reset his ult percentage.
Yes, it was most likely to reset his mech, which unfortunately also reset his ult percentage.
There's the rally. Lord Hades and Asu both going to use a Chatter from Wild Thing's going to land onto Asu and Guac. As we do see the Nano has come out onto Guac, and Wolfen's going to commit the Transcendence. Kel picks up one with the Diva Bomb, and for all of this, Kent State still has barely left their spawn doors as Vixen gets taken down as well. The Golden Flashes lose Lord Hades once again. And Boise State right now looking like they are heading on to the finals.
Oh yes, absolutely. Boise State has done a lot of holding outside of spawn doors tonight. But we've seen Kent State clutch before, so I think we could see it again. Boise State can't let their guard down.
That was a three-man ante plus the grab. It's a triple kill for Goblin. Guac's going to pick up Buzz. And good news for Kent State. Boise State starting to run out of ultimates, I guess.
Starting to run out of ultimates, you guess. We're still sitting on that Nano, and we are relatively close to the Shatter as well, so Boise State just needs to play a little bit less aggressively.
Nice job by Kel. Eats the grab. That was maybe the one chance Kent State had. Nano is going to come out onto Guac, who throws down the Shatter, not able to find anything. There's a sound barrier from Vixen. Lord Hades has been stunned. He's going to get out of it. His large bagel throws down his own sound barrier, but they do lose Guac. Now Diva Bomb is going to be used by Kel. Picks up 3 for Boise State, and Buzz, who had a reset earlier, still doesn't have his.
Wow, that was an absolutely amazing bomb outside of the spawn of Kent State there. They did an amazing job. They weren't ready for it. Their Reinhardt shield was broke. There was nothing they could do, and Kel said, ooh.
Double rally gonna come out. Lord Hades and Goldust have both been antsy, but Boise State not able to punish as they wait for Quack to get back into the fight. There is a shatter online for Wild Thing, and he's gonna throw it down, lands just onto Plato, but Goblin's gonna be able to use the grab around a corner, so we'll get out the Transcendence from Wolfwind, and Asu will be taken out by Buzz. Diva Bomb from Buzz, by the way, not gonna find anything. Goldust now has his own grab. It's going to be used, and he's gonna get his own triple kill. Looks like a large Bagel and Kel both gonna fall as well, and just like we talked about in the final minute, Kent State comes alive. Keep going.
Yep, there it is. There it always is with Kent State. However, Boise State does get another full recontest here, and we do have both the Nano and the Shatter, and it's likely that we'll charge Bomb this fight too. And if Kel's bombs are anything like they've been before, Kent State won't be able to cap this first point.
Boise State, they're going to try the hold here. Kent State has to win this to keep the map alive and keep the match alive. Nano's going to come out on the clock. He's going to land a 3-man shatter. And Boise State's going to start the cleanup clear with Buzz, the only one left alive. He gets grabbed for good measure. Lord Hades has swapped over to the Moira, but I don't think it's going to matter. Team kill, and Boise State's moving on to the finals.
Boise State is, in fact, moving to the finals just as we hoped they would. However, that was an absolute delight to watch. Kent State and Boise State go head-to-head.
Boise State with another 2-0 victory under their belt, so they will advance to the finals of the GOATS Invitational without dropping a single map. So maybe Boise State is secretly rooting for the GOATS meta to come back because they have been unstoppable tonight.
Yes, I know for a fact that Guac really enjoyed the GOATS meta while it existed. So I'm sure they're absolutely enjoying this chance to play GOATS again.
Take a look at our lovely Tetris machine that I know has been a hotly contested game in the last couple of weeks between myself and Doc, as we see right there. I know Captain Star has also hopped in. So, oh, what is he doing? This is, oh no. This is not a good start for Doc on the Tetris machine. He's got one open on the right. He's got the solid block coming down, so it is going to bail him out. Oh, he missed it! He missed it! We distracted him and he threw.
We distracted him.
Oh.
Is it a throw if there was an intentional effort to set you off? Is it a throw, or are you just falling into the clutches of a superior strategist?
And now we got to see how Doc can clutch this. I have been told that Captain Star has the current record. Don't think this is going to be the run from Doc. I'm going to be honest. He's got a couple lines, so we'll keep you updated on that as we see the GOATS tournament rules. 6v6, no DPS, no other limits. Custom workshop code to get us back to the peak meta of GOATS without the newer heroes, and then the fixed map rotation of Kings Row, Rialto, Lijiang, and then Hollywood and Route 66, because the finals, unlike the last two, will be a best of 5, so we're at least guaranteed Kings Row, Rialto, and one more. We see there Boise State has advanced past Kent State. We're waiting for the winner of Becker and Roger Williams. From my understanding, it is Becker who is the quote-unquote host of this tournament. So would love to see Boise State and Becker go at it. I know there's, I don't want to say animosity, but there's some good storylines. Boise State's coach, Shifty, also the coach for Becker. So there is some, fun little storylines as Doc has stayed alive for now.
Yes, and both teams being coached by Shifty does speak for itself because a lot of Boise State's winning strategies that we get come from him and his brilliant strategies, and Boise State is just really grateful to work with him, and we've grown a lot as a team with him. So I assume that Becker has to.
Unfortunately, D'Angelo, you have been replaced by my new co-host here, Stella. When we go back to the GOATS meta, you need some support sometimes because it's rough. So there is Stella right there. Just looks like she's dressed as a witch for Halloween, which is just awesome. Huge shout out to D'Angelo for bringing along Stella here to make the cast just that much better.
Yes, she's my emotional support animal. She's here to emotionally support me through goats.
You're a support player. You should be fine. The DPS players are the one who need Stella. It's okay.
It's okay.
After,
It's okay.
After today, you can go back to playing Tracer, and no one's going to hurt you. The bad Brig isn't good enough right now to hurt you.
Big bad Brig can't hurt anybody the way she is currently, and neither can Widowmaker now with her HP drop to 175. Which
Just
actually,
click heads, right?
I was discussing this with both Plato and Goblin before the match. How, like, that. So Widow, in my opinion, should be one of those characters that should be always viable because all of the value that you get out of Widow comes out of mechanical skill and positioning.
Yep.
She's not necessarily a no-brain hero. So for the same reasons that they don't like nerf Ana, even though Ana's kit is really, really good and can be overpowered in the right situations, for the same reason they don't nerf her, I don't think that Widow nerfing is the correct thing to do here because there's basically no reason to play Widow now instead of Ashe because she's... So the meta right now is dive tanks that can easily just kind of like come up to her and murder her. And because I know it might not seem like that big of a change, 200 to 175, but it definitely makes the difference. It makes her much more susceptible to just being one-shot KO'd. So it kind of makes Widowmaker unplayable if this is going to continue to be a thing. Like, it kind of makes her unplayable as compared to the other hit scans that exist. Like, there's no reason not to play Ashe at that point.
Yeah, I mean, even with just Bob alone has sort of brought Ashe to the forefront. Wait, hold on. You telling me that it's a dive meta right now?
Yes.
I know what we need. Another champion like Brig. That'll fix it, right?
I actually think that a couple problems might be solved if they maybe reworked her to, instead of being a support, to being like some sort of off tank. I do actually think that would perhaps solve a couple of issues if they reworked her to fill that role instead of the support role, because she could still peel for the backline, which is her main purpose, but also she would be more than she is now, which is not much.
If I'm not mistaken, support should be next as we take a look at the Boise State upcoming broadcast schedule. You see NACE to wrap up the month of October. I know a lot of the things like Overwatch and Rocket League, their playoffs will start at the beginning of November, so the Broncos don't quite have their opponents known for that yet, as they know the blue squad on both Rocket League and Overwatch undefeated. The orange Overwatch squad also sitting up there at the top of their standings in NACE, so there'll be some playoff games sprinkled in, and of course with the football season back and alive, we will have Gridiron Rivals sprinkled throughout the month of November as well, and hopefully a lot of playoff games coming out. But does Blizzard follow the standards set by other games where they want to introduce 1-1-1? So should we see a new support? Because we had Sigma, we had Echo, we should get a new support.
So there are a couple members on the side of Boise State that feel very strongly about the fact that there needs to be a new support, Beanie Bum being one of them, and I do agree with him. So DPS has the biggest pool of heroes to choose from.
Yes.
Because it's the easiest to make a DPS and to balance the DPS.
Yep.
Like, when you make a DPS, it doesn't fundamentally change the entire friggin' meta like Brig did.
Yeah.
And like Sigma did.
Yep.
It doesn't create these oppressive metas. So, like, you don't necessarily have to be as careful or as worried when you're creating a DPS. So I totally understand why they do that. But also, it has been a ridiculous amount of time since Baptiste came out, and Baptiste actually came out to try to combat goats. So I think it would be nice if they just made a new support just to make a new support, not to shape the meta or do anything like that, just to make their game better.
Well, Blizzard could think about that, and you could think about that while we wait to see who Boise State's opponent in the final is going to be. We are going to take a short break, but when we come back, we will have the Collegiate Overwatch GOATS Invitational Finals, Boise State and somebody else going best of 5 to see who's the best GOATS team coming up after this break.
Here in Idaho, we do things a little differently. First rule, camouflage never goes out of style. Next, always use fry sauce. I mean, why wouldn't you? Hold steady when out-of-state friends think you're from Iowa. We call it pop, not soda. We always put a lift on our pickups. And we always buckle up because we still have a lot we want to do, and I'm guessing you do too.
Visit NationalGuard.com to begin your Guard adventure.
Well, welcome back into the Boise State Game Pants Esports Arena. We are on to our finals of the Overwatch GOATS Invitational. Fish D'Angelo and Stella here to call all of the action because we all need our emotional support stuffed animals when GOATS is rearing its ugly head once again. So it is going to be Boise State taking on Becker College, I believe the host of this tournament in the finals, so couldn't be more appropriate. The Broncos and the Hawks, who have met already this season in Nace. Boise State won that one, but there is that sort of fun little storyline that the coach for Boise State, Shifty, is also the coach for Becker. So there is that familiarity between the two teams as we see the rules. 6v6, no DPS. Back to the peak meta that was GOATS without any of the newer heroes on a fixed map rotation. This will be best of 5, so we do get to see map number 3 at least, as we've seen Boise State 2-0 their last two opponents. We only know about Kings Row and Rialto. Lijiang looks like it is map number 3, followed by Hollywood and Route 66. If we get there, because right now Boise State has been on fire, so Becker's going to have their work cut out for them.
Boise State's been grabbing outside of spawn doors with a great amount of success, and if that doesn't talk about how well they've been doing, I don't know what will.
There you see how the teams got there. Boise State 2-0ing Midland and 2-0ing Kent State. Not sure about the results, but you can see that Becker College took down Emerson and Roger Williams to make their ways to the finals. So it is going to be two good friends going at it between the Broncos and the Hawks, and I'll be very curious to see. As we said, from my understanding, the Hawks are the host of this, so maybe they put in some extra practice because Boise State looks like they have like a GOATS day where they just go scrim GOATS for some obscure reason. Maybe it's like GOATS might come back, but I mean, Boise State has been on fire.
Boise State has absolutely been on fire, and because we have the same coaches, and because we're probably going to be running mirror comps, I would say that the winning factor here is going to be individual player skill. So even though it's a team game, both teams are going to be running similar strategies with a similar understanding of the game because they have the same coach and because they've both learned a lot from that coach.
Yep.
And because it's GOATS, there's not a ton of variance in terms of comps, so there's not really going to be any picking or outpicking, but there is going to be a significant difference in individual player skill and the use of ultimates. And I think that's what we need to be watching out for, those like Ryan v. Ryan matchups or like Brig v. Brig or Zen v. Zen. We need to be watching out for which player individually fills their role better.
Boise State also has the Doc factor. Don't forget about Doc Haskell. I'm pretty sure he just tells them to sweep the leg. That's my understanding of what his coaching has come down to. In recent weeks, it's just been, we need Chizu here for the whole rundown. I'm sorry, I don't watch movies from the 80s. I apologize to anyone who's offended by that. As we see Doc's keys to the game for this finals. First fight win, better target focus, respect their ults, and Bagel don't feed. Huge shout out to Bagel, by the way, for a sneaky little payload push that pulled a Brig off the point and then allowed Boise State to win on Kings Row. I will say, speaking about Doc, he did salvage that disaster of a Tetris game we watched before we went to break. He did end up with 48 lines, but unfortunately it was not enough to dethrone Captain Star, who is currently the reigning champion. As we see some replays here, right there, this is what I was talking about. I mean, Lord Hades like, oh, I got to do something here, and as soon as that Brig runs away, Boise State's like, all right, we're winning.
Yes, absolutely, because as soon as the Reinhardt loses his little faithful squire there. He's easy pickings, especially for Boise State. That makes the Rhine v. Rhine much easier for Guac there. Really, it should have been their Lucio that peeled off, because not only can he get there faster, but he wouldn't have left their entire team as vulnerable as he did when the Brig left.
Yeah, you saw as soon as Lord Hades appeared and contested the cart, Large Becker was speed boosted, roller skated his way. He's like, all right, back in the fight. Sorry,
Absolutely.
man. You can't do anything.
Absolutely. And then Boise State was effectively up one, even though nobody was through spawn, because it took the Brig. She used her shield bash to get there, so she just had to jump walk back into the fight, and that was more than enough time for the fight to already have been won.
Yeah, so going to be curious to see as we do, of course, hop on to Kings Row. Do look like we have one change up for Boise State. Frost now going to be in on that Brig. Curious to see how he plays. It's an interesting choice, putting someone in the finals in. Hopefully he was been all warmed up, ready to go, practicing his Brig off screen and not his Sombra as he usually is forced to do.
True. He did come to us as a support main, so I do expect him to be a more than able Brig.
We do kick things off. Boise State back in the blue. Becker in the orange. We'll see what the Hawks want to do when they make it to this first choke point. Once again, Boise State's going to be the aggressor. They're going to drop a couple members low. Yuchi is the one who's being targeted right now. Looks like he was able to treat the respawn and heal back up to full. Guac's got to be careful. That shield is starting to break. Spark and Nate very low with thanks to that Orb of Discord. And now Boise State sees their opportunity. Nate taken out of the neck immediately goes down. Cyberduel and Spark the next targets, but the Broncos going to lose Guac and Frost. So it's a 2 for 2. Yuchi falls to make it a 2 for 3. And there goes Sacred. So Boise State barely holding on. They'll get Cyberdoodle again. And that's going to be a fight win. Don't say it's clean, but it's a fight win.
It's a fight win, and Boise State was able to stagger them enough that both Guac and Frost should be back for this next fight, and Boise State will be at full strength before the team fight truly begins.
We see
there
once again, everyone back at full strength as you predicted, D'Angelo. There's the grab that's going to come out from Goblin. Not going to get eaten up by Nate, but Cyberdoodle's going to drop down the rally. Guac's going to use a shatter. Looks like that one is going to be eaten, but Boise State's going to lose Spark. There's the rally and the Transcendence coming out from Boise State as they're going to chase the Hawks back into the spawn. Cyberdoodle and Nate will fall. And a nice fight there for Boise State, but they've got to watch out.
A very, very clean fight. I would not say that Becker College was expecting Guac and Frost to return when they did, but Boise State had all of that planned absolutely perfectly with the grab and the engage, and now we're just waiting for Kill to get a team to Diva Bomb.
There's going to be a grab from Sacred, but Goblin's going to have his second one of the night already, and he's going to use it immediately. Shatter from Spark going to come, going to land on to 2. Now we're going to see the grab come. There's the sound barrier and the Transcendence, and the graphics card starts crying as Boise State is going to lose 1. Kel goes down, but the Broncos still hold strong as Becker's still scared to push around the corner. Now they'll all in on Guac, who has to retreat with the shield raised. Boise State trying to get Kel back into the fight as the payload is going to start being contested. Transcendence from Plato is going to be used. Cyberduel's going to throw it on the rally right as he was about to die. There's the Diva Bomb from Nate, but a grab from Goblin. His third of the match already is going to be a 4K, making it 5 for Boise State.
Wow, absolutely great. However, the Transcendence from Plato is what enabled that fight to stay alive, what enabled Boise State to push and win. We had the overhead view there. We saw the second he pressed Q, everybody's movement keys, they started pushing in, because even though they were down 1, you have to make good use of that tranquility.
If Becker can have, much like Kent State, a little bit of a rally at the very end. Just like that, hey, rally's going to go off from Frost. Guac going to have his shatter up. Sacred End going to try and use the grab, but it's not going to matter. Becker College loses 4, and Boise State setting up nicely, but this is when Kent State came alive in the last minute, so Boise State's got to be ready as we see Kamba trying to go with a little bit of a back door. It's not going to work.
Boise State does in fact have to be ready. However, they don't have the 5 or 6 ultimates that they were going up against previously, so
that makes it a little bit easier, I will say.
yes, it does, because Goats is made to eat ultimates, but 5 is a little much.
Transcendence up for Yuchi. Going to be up for Plato as well. That goes to a check mark. Boise State going to have to be going into a shatter. Grab is closer for Goblin. But what about a 6-man shatter? He doesn't even need a grab. They'll take down Frost, but nothing more. As Transcendence going to keep them both alive. Now Boise State's going to try. 2-man shatter plus a sound barrier and a grab going to come out. And Spark and Sacred End going to meet their demise. Nate taken out of the mech. Yuchi will fall, so will Cyberdoodle. Kamba had the sound barrier, chose not to use it. And that's going to be last fight chance chance here for Becker.
Yes, they are in last fight territory, and if Boise State plays anyway like they did the rest of the night, there's going to be some cheeky picks outside of spawn from both of their tanks there. Oh, no, it looks like we're falling back.
Rally's going to come out from Cyberdoodle. Kamba can't get the sound barrier out. He gets taken out before he hits the ground. That's a huge all down for Boise State. Spark is taken low. He will be the next one to fall. Kell's going to eat the grab as well, and unfortunately everything going wrong for Becker. Grab comes out. Diva Bomb going to be used. Rally from Frost. That is going to be a 5K for Boise State. Kamba gets back in. It's a team kill. And the Broncos defense on Kings Row could not be more stout to kick off the final.
Could not be more stout at all. That was absolutely amazing, and now we're probably going to pull out an Anna and just try to anti the point and play off of that, because we only need to cap first point. And so because that Lucio didn't get their sound barrier off and because that Zarya got their grav eaten, Boise State is pretty assuredly and pretty dominantly won Kings Row.
I will say, we were talking about how tanks and support mains Mari liked Goats meta. If you're a Rhine main and you land a 6-man shatter and no one dies, that's got to be infuriating, because that's exactly what Spark did.
Yes. If you land a 6-man shatter and all you get is the brig, it's got to be absolutely horrible. However, on the flip side of that, if you're a tank and you can just eat grav and then shatter and then live, that's got to feel great.
That is true. That is true. But usually you're like, 6-man shatter, we're gonna win, and then Spark's like, but guys, this I hate this.
Guys,
Spark's like 2-2-2, bring it back.
2-2-2,
I don't
bring it
like
back.
this.
I don't like the sustain.
Well, you were correct, D'Angelo. Plato has brought out the Ana.
But so have they.
Exactly.
So both teams should be ready for a counter Ana, because they themselves are probably running Ana for similar reasons. For the anti, trying to get it off guard and deny those tranquilities.
Yeah, Becker's going to need quite the excellent hold here as Boise State shut him out. Boise State only needs a quick cap, similar to what they needed against Midland. Nice sleep onto Nape, who was trying to get some easy chip damage. He's still asleep, and he's only going to anti-Nape, and that's going to be an anti onto Frost as a large bagel taken down as well. So unfortunately for Boise State, Yuchi getting a ton of value right now. The Broncos trying to sustain. You see Plato doing all he can. He's going to get a 2-man anti this time. Unfortunately for him, the rest of his team is incredibly low. Sacred Ed's going to take out Goblin. And the Broncos retreating, and it's an early start for Becker holding Boise State.
It's very interesting to watch Plato because he just walks through the enemy team to get those antis, and it's just the most brave on a play.
You can see an anti came out on the Sacred Ed, who is going to throw down the grab. It's going to catch just Kell and Goblin. Kell's going to be forced out of the net. Goblin's going to be taken down. I think Boise State retreats to spawn here, and Becker College coming out on fire.
Yes, absolutely. You can tell they have the same coach. They're using the same. You can tell that they both have Shifty. They're using the same strategies. They're doing the same thing. They're pushing when they need to, and they're falling back when they need to.
See there, Stella and D'Angelo here calling all the Goats action as there comes Boise State. Rally's going to come out, Nano's going to come out. Going to be one onto Spark and one onto Block, and Boise State's going to pick up Cyberdoodle. They're going to have the grab come out as well. Kamba's going to be the next one to fall, and you have to think this might be enough for Boise State as they lose Spark as well. This actually might be a team kill. Unfortunately, Cyberdoodle's going to respawn in time. Kell's going to throw out the deep bomb for good measure. But Boise State easily going to cap this. There's not even anyone to body block, and the Broncos up 1-0 here in the finals.
There isn't anybody to body block at all, and if there were, Quack would have charged them into that wall. An absolutely amazing job by Boise State there. We lost that fight. We got pushed back into our spawn a little bit, but then we came back, and I mean, like I said, Goats can't eat a full 5 ultimates, especially not if their brig has been picked.
I mean, just look at that. I mean, why was Stella has come and taken my job? Here, Stella, you got to make sure you look at the correct camera there.
Yes,
there
absolutely.
There we go.
Yes, she just needs a little bit of assistance from the professional in the room. However, she does have, I will say, she has a significant amount more charisma than you.
That, I can't argue with that. I mean, she came prepared with her Halloween costume on. She's a witch for Halloween. She's giving everyone emotional support because it's back to Goats. So huge shout out to Stella for joining us here, D'Angelo. We couldn't have made it through tonight without her.
Absolutely not. She is the good luck charm that Boise State needed, and she has done an absolutely amazing job of raising the spirits of everybody here.
Just a reminder, the Rocky Mountain Warfare Redux coming your way November 6th and 7th. Warzone Duos Tournament with the Idaho Army National Guard. These events are a ton of fun. There was literally so many people asking to run it back. That is exactly what we did. So if you want to get registered, Idaho Army National Guard, any of their social media links there at the bottom of the screen, go check it out because it is a ton of fun. Not Stella fun, but still very fun.
Not quite Stella fun. She is special and reserved just for tonight in honor of Halloween being so close. And hopefully a Boise State victory.
Yeah, I mean, if Boise State keeps winning, Stella might have to keep coming back because the Broncos have not dropped a map. We know we're going to Rialto next. This is a best of 5, so good news is for Becker. They actually get to see a Game 3, unlike anyone else we played tonight who has been 2-0 back-to-back. So I'll be curious because Boise State has been pretty dang strong on Rialto. Becker's got to come up with something crazy because that was also the best Kings Row hold we've seen from Boise State.
That was an absolutely amazing Kings Row hold that we saw from Boise State there. I mean, when they didn't come alive at the end like we saw before. They were just they played the same way that they played the rest of the map, and obviously that didn't work for them. So
yeah, I'd be curious to see if the Ana comes out from either team because as we mentioned, same coach. Both of them brought up the Ana at the exact same time. So basically full mirror has been the entire time. Boise State has been the only team that we've seen in their previous matches that pulled out the Ana. So I'm be curious to see if Becker has anything up their sleeve because they're going to need some tricks here. And unfortunately, they can't just click on a DPS and be like, hey, guys, we got you.
That's true. And, the thing about tricks is usually you get them from your coach. And so I think that's why we're seeing some of the same tricks being pulled. And I mean, this is coming down to, just like we said before, it's a battle of who can play their individual heroes better and who can get more ultimate value because they're trying to pull the same tricks. They're trying to pull the same strats. We see that Ana with the defense on Rialto, just like we saw with Boise State. And Boise State should be completely ready for it because they themselves would like to do that.
Well, we see Boise State in the orange this time, Becker College in the blue.
I've been duped. I've been duped. They're labeled Becker College. I should have read the Play-Doh.
Hey, they're always keeping us on our toes here, but Plato is on the Ana, as you mentioned. Yuchi taken down by Kel, so Boise State already up 1 and starting to chase down the Hawks. Frost dropping low. He's going to be sustained back with the rest of his team, and Yuchi has respawns, so he might be able to get back into the fight before anyone else falls, but unfortunately Sacred End goes down. Nate's been taken out of the mech. A large bagel has been taken out, so at least Becker College is going to pick up 1. Unfortunately, even with an extra tank, they're down all 3, and Cyberdoodle and Combo going down as well means Boise State's going to be able to, once again, be at the mercy of the payload.
Once again, be at the mercy. It's not the skill that limits Boise State teams. It is how fast the payload moves, as we're seeing again here. And Becker College will get another full recontest because of that.
See Plato hanging out up on the top there, maybe trying to look for an anti or something. There's a rally from both. Briggs going to be a shatter from Spartak will land. The 2-man anti is going to be a big reason why Boise State wins that. There's a grab that's going to come out as well. They can't find anyone, but Nape and Kamba are low. Yuichi will fall, but the health bars for Becker are not in a good spot. They're going to lose 3 more, and Boise State's easily going to get this next payload spot.
Boise State is easily going to get this next payload spot, and as we set up to spawn camp them and get any of the stragglers, it's looking like this next point should be relatively easy as well, because even if we lose a fight, the next fight is going to be on payload because it's so far behind where Boise State is holding currently.
We've seen that before from Boise State where they get right in the spawn knowing they're going to cap, and then the spawn doors go down and Boise State just immediately says, okay, we're going to win that, because it was a 3-man shatter. Becker couldn't do anything, and you see Boise State's got a Rhine hiding in a corner. He doesn't have a shatter, but you can't even see the payload right now.
You can't even see the payload with our massive aerial view, even.
There's the grab. Guac's going to pick up 2. Let's make it 3 for Boise State. Hey, let's make it 4. It's a party. And it's not a party for Becker as the Broncos once again. Hey, they're now 2 checkpoints deep at this point.
They are now 2 checkpoints deep at this point without Becker being able to touch the payload. That is how aggressively Boise State has been holding. And with this sneaky shatter, it's looking like we'll continue to hold that aggressively. Oh, he was ready.
Only on to Cyberdoodle. He's going to get anti. We are going to see the grab come out from Sacred End. But hey, let's just rally Sound Barrier and Nano to survive through it. Nate's going to throw Diva Bomb in the back line, not able to find anything. But Sacred End is able to get Goblin. There's a Diva Bomb from Kel. He'll pick up 2. Cyberdoodle has been anti, but he's going to be able to survive for now. Has the rally, but he's going to hold on to it. And a Spark is probably going to be taken down next. Nate can just barely hold on in the mech and hope for his team to respawn. Out of the mech, immediately taken down on a second checkpoint for Boise State.
Second checkpoint for Boise State as we see Guac charging deep into enemy territory, just telling them to get back into their spawn room.
Poor Kel. Chilling out on the payload.
He's playing video games. He's fine.
That is true. I mean, he could be all tapped, you know, doing something else because his goal has been, hey, just get on the payload. Maybe you'll join in. Rally comes out from Cyberdoodle, and hey,
there's
Kel's
the
in the fight as we see a good push here from Becker. And she's going to go on to Spark. No Ultra Boise State, but immediately as the grab comes up, they're going to use it. Shadow's going to land onto 3 from Spark. That's going to take down Glock and Frost. Kel going to be forced out of the mech, and that's the first resistance we've seen from Becker College. They're going to stop Boise State in their tracks.
That's the first resistance from Becker College that we've seen, but what a resistance indeed. That was a full team wipe, and they got to touch the payload, which they hadn't been able to do. The entire rest of the map, Boise State got a little too excited with that grab, and we got shattered for it.
Yeah, Guac had the shatter if he was able to survive. Sacred Head now going to use his own grab. Kel tries to, or Guac tries to do it in reverse. Can't quite find a shatter target. Nano's going to go on to Kel, but Boise State's already down 2. Becker College is holding on to their ultimates. Guac will be eliminated as well. I think the Broncos want to retreat back to their spawn.
Yes, they do want to retreat back to their spawn and then wait until they're at full strength to take advantage of some of these people that are making positional mistakes.
There's the sound barrier and a rally from both sides. So it's going to be a little bit harder for either side to find much damage at all. There's a shatter. 3-man once again from Spark, but Boise State's going to survive. Kel Diva Bombs in on the back line, and it picks up Spark of all people. Usually the guy who survived Diva Bombs gets caught off guard as the shield not able to save him.
Goblin
taken down, but Nape's out of the mech, so Boise State has to feel confident. Also, Sacred End is very low and goes down, holding on to the grab. Nape actually going to be able to re-mech. Yuchi will fall, so Boise State's still up a couple as Guac gets back, but Becker College put in a very nice defensive effort here. They have the Transcendence and the grab available. Unfortunately, they're going to lose Cyberdoodle, and now Boise State starting to find their advantage. They're going to take Nape down this time. Combo will fall. The Broncos going to start pushing again.
And the Broncos are at an ultimate disadvantage, but we have seen them get some huge value out of their... Oh, Play-Doh flank. Play-Doh flank. If we win this fight, it's going to be because of the Play-Doh flank.
Very close to the Nano. Also could land a huge anti as well. Goblin's going to throw down the grab, so will Sacred End. Diva Bomb going to come out from Nate, but it's going to be enough to pick up 2 as the Shatter landed onto 4 as well. Boise State also gets 2-man anti, and hey, let's throw a Transcendence. So Boise State going to be at the brunt of 4 ultimates there from Becker.
Now, and we still see Play-Doh behind them. Things looking a little bit scary because I think that Diva is absolutely looking for him.
I think Spark might have...
They're all looking for him. They found him.
Yeah, he gets taken down. Nice try. Unfortunately, he's not on a Lucio, so he's not going to have the speed boost. And now, speaking of Lucio, Large Bagel goes down. So down 2 supports. Boise State's going to have to retreat. Guac's going to get caught out. Play-Doh swapping off the Ana, even with the Nano up. Going to go over to the Zenyatta, but Boise State's got a long way to go back to spawn.
Long way to go back into spawn indeed. However, we might be able to get some picks here before we head into the next fight. Because we're pushing because Play-Doh got caught out so close to their spawn, we've been pushed all the way back to ours.
And a half left on the clock. There's the rally from Cyberdoodle. Rally going to come out from Frost as well. So the Diva Bomb's going to pick up Yuchi. Spark, unfortunately, not going to find any shatter value this time as it is going to get eaten. Sound Barrier going to be used by Combo, though, to keep the rest of the team alive for Becker. Boise State's going to use their own as well. There's Goblin now going to use his Sound Barrier, lands onto a couple, and Boise State's going to pick up 3, make it 4, as Nate's taken down as well, and the Broncos can start pushing.
The Broncos can start pushing, and we're setting up for this final fight just outside of Becker's spawn door. We need to eat that grab with the Diva, or we need to eat it with our Zenyatta ult that is very, very close, but not quite close enough.
Well, it is going to come down, not eaten by anyone on Boise State, but a shatter is going to land onto nobody as the Diva Bomb from Nate is able to pick up 2. Transcendence from Plato has been used, but Boise State sitting down a couple of members, make it 3 members. And you have to think Boise State's probably not going to have a chance here to 3-cap.
Probably not. They're probably not going to get a full fight. They're probably not even going to get a touch because Becker has been trained by Shifty just as well as Boise State has, and they're pushing into us. They're not going to give us a chance to touch that point.
Yeah, you saw Kel try and boost over the members of Becker. 10 seconds left. Boise State's at full strength. Sparks going to miss there with the shatter. Rally's going to come out from Cyberdoodle. You can see a large bagel is racing to the point, but unfortunately, as you predicted, D'Angelo, nobody could get there. So still a long way to go for Becker, but they have a chance to win this map.
That is a really, really long way for Becker to push. So I would say that things are still looking pretty good for Boise State because we got 2.5 points. No, yeah, we got 2.5 points before Becker even managed to touch the payload.
Yeah, I would have to think that we're going to have to see a completely different Becker squad from what we saw in Kings Row, where Boise State just shut them down defensively.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We really don't want to see... If they play the same way, they're going to get held the same way, which is held before capping first point.
Ready for battle.
Looks like Doc has told me that there's been a challenge issued for Boise State. Not only does they want to win, Doc has said don't let them get the first corner.
Don't let them get the first corner. That's a challenge that's been issued. We'll see if Boise State is able to do that. If Becker plays like they did before, and if Boise State plays like they did before, it's kind of inevitable that they're going to be held before that first corner because that's exactly what happened on Kings Row. And if you do what you did before, the same thing is going to happen.
Yeah, and Kent State did not have a very fun time attacking. I mean, we saw grabs at spawn doors on this map. So
absolutely, yep.
If there's a map for Boise State to have such a challenge, I mean, first corner is a long ways away from 2.5 checkpoints, so they would easily win the map if they pull it off. We'll see if they can do it. They're right at that first corner.
I believe.
Doc has said extra push-ups if you don't get past that first corner.
I believe in Boise State's ability to hold this corner because I'm not sure that some of the members could manage extra push-ups.
There is a large bingo. He maybe looking for a boop, didn't find anything. Payload has stalled. Right now, no one taking too much damage. Uh-oh, we're nearing that first corner, but Spark has been taken out. So has Cyberdoodle, Nape out of the mech as well, and Boise State, they rise to the occasion for now.
They rise to the occasion, and that first, bagel, no, the camera was on you and everything. They do rise to the occasion. That first corner is usually where Boise State holds in the first place, so this challenge actually isn't really very out of their play style because that's always where they first hold anyway, and then if you get the advantage, you push into their spawn.
There's the grab going to come out from Goblin, but it is going to get eaten up by Nate. Payload's going to make it around that first corner. Unfortunately for Boise State, they're going to have to win a fight, push it back, and that's a great way to start as Spark can be taken down. It did land a pretty decent shatter onto Boise State, but it's not going to matter. Rally comes out. Cyberdoodle Yuchi going to fall. Sacred End will meet his end, and Nate going to be taken out of the mech. So Boise State did allow first corner for a brief moment.
For a brief moment. Now we have to get into the semantics of this challenge because is it never get around the first corner? Or is it stop, like end of the map, can't be around the first corner? What do you think, Fish?
I think it's end of the map, can't be around the first corner. As we see, this time Goblin's like, hey, you can't eat it when it's on a wall, so he'll grab Becker. Boise State's going to take down 2. Spark and Cyberdoodle will go down. There is nearly that 5 ults as combo falls up for Becker College. So Boise State, they're going to be going to have to work for it. You see the payload, like I said, it's back to that first corner.
It's back to that first corner, so that's what we're going to go with. By the end of the map, if it's not around the first corner, Boise State gets extra points and not extra push-ups.
Well, this could be an opportunity for Becker, though. They've got 4 ults, nearly sitting on 5, but the shatter isn't up. Kel dropping incredibly low with that Order Discord, barely able to be sustained. There's the rally, and Transcendence going to come out from Becker. There's a Transcendence being used by Boise State. A shatter's going to land, plus the Diva Bomb, and it's enough to take down Sacred End. Boise State going to just probably force Becker in. Nice snipe from Plato onto Comba. Everyone else for the Hawks. Looks like they got back to spawn, but Cyberdoodle didn't expect it. He's taken down as well. There's a minute and a half left.
There's a minute and a half left, and Becker's being killed inside of their own spawn. I would say things are looking pretty good for Boise State not having extra push-ups.
Still got to deal with the grab Diva Bomb. Shatter's coming up soon. Boise State just has the rally sound barrier. Becker waiting for their spots. Haven't found anything yet. They're up on the second floor, so they do have a little bit of a height advantage over Boise State. Frost is going to rally. Grab comes out from Goblin and Sacred End. Both sound barriers going to be used as well. Nate's going to throw down the Diva Bomb. Boise State's got to be careful. Unfortunately, Guac gets taken out. Nate, though, can't re-mech. Kel is out of the mech, though, so Boise State's now down 1.5 tanks, and now Kel gets knocked off the edge. Frost will fall as well. Plato gets sparked. Goblin in a battle here with Sacred End. We lose Plato, and Boise State probably going to have to start worrying as we do see the payload has started pushing. Cyberdrill's going to get a large bagel. Goblin gets a couple, but 30 seconds left. Becker makes it around that first corner.
They do make it around that first corner, and with 30 seconds remaining, it is unlikely that it will be pushed back around that first corner. So it looks like Boise State might lose a couple members after the extra push-ups.
Yeah, maybe extra push-ups. Maybe it says watch Doc play Tetris. It's unknown which would be worse as we see the rally come out and the shatter from Spark. Oh goodness, the graphics card starts crying as the grab comes out as well. Plato is going to use that Transcendence to keep everyone alive. Yuchi's throwing his down. Double shatter comes out. Guac wins that one. It's a 5-man shatter, and there go the members of Becker, Nate, Sacred End, Cybernoodle combo. Spark barely hanging on him, and Yuchi go down. It's a team kill, and it's game 2 over to Boise State.
Game 2 over to Boise State indeed. However, we do get to see a third map, unlike the rest of the teams that got 2-0'd.
So it's Becker College, Boise State in the finals of the Overwatch Collegiate GOATS Invitational. As D'Angelo just mentioned, it is a best of 5. So we are going to our next map for the first time. I will say I've figured out who hates GOATS the worst, though. I figured it out. Graphics cards.
Graphics, yes.
They start crying at times. It is the frame drop. I'm just like, I don't know how you played this game if you were at a lower tiered computers. We take a look at some of the replay.
If you were at a lower tiered computer or you were a tank, because that's where it's the worst. Because you still have to respond when the graphics card is crying if you're playing Reinhardt. And I don't know how you do it.
I don't think you see. Again, we've determined that everyone hated GOATS meta. Tanks couldn't love it because. If you weren't on the newest thing, it was like, oh no, please stop. My computer is literally exploding in front of me.
My computer is literally exploding. Or you could just make sure that your Zarya doesn't grab at the same time as their Zarya.
Please don't grab. My computer will crash.
Please don't grab, guys. Alt DC and lose 50 SR. Please, no, my computer can't handle it. Guys, please. You just duo with your Zarya. And make sure she never grabs.
Oh, we've
she
done
never
it.
grabs.
We have 2 Stellas. It's really one, but she's taken over.
She's completely taken over like a virus. She took one screen, and then she took another screen, and now she has all of the screen. All it is Stella. This is no longer a Boise State broadcast. This is a Stella broadcast.
Yeah, Stella has completed the takeover, dressed up as a witch, enchanted the entire production crew into nothing but Stella for the rest of the night, which I don't know if anyone would complain about in between games. As we see there it is. Look at the production crew's like, all right, how many times can we put Stella up there?
How many screens can we get Stella on? How many cameras do we have again? Let's get her from all the different angles, guys.
I mean, I don't blame them. There's no bad angle for Stella.
There is absolutely no bad angle for Stella.
See Doc there. Not in a solo queue game tonight, unfortunately.
Though that would be a joy to watch if he were.
He should go into free roll or whatever it's called. What is it? Roll unlock, free queue.
Open queue?
Open queue.
Are you open queue? It's open queue.
Basically, you know what? I was just throwing out synonyms. He should go into open queue and say, guys, let's play GOATS.
Guys, let's play GOATS. Guys, let's
just a ton of fun. I promise.
Guys, listen, we'll just win. Let's play GOATS. We win. And everybody's like, no.
I'm here to play my DPS.
Absolutely. I'm here to play 5 DPS and a Mercy.
I don't want to sit in an hour-long queue, so I just go for open rolls.
I just go for open queue. I don't care about my competitive damage SR. I care about my open queue
Exactly.
SR.
Well, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but there is something on the line. It is the Overwatch Collegiate GOATS Championship. Boise State sitting on match point. Becker's got to engineer a reverse sweep as we head to map number 3 between these two schools. And right now, Boise State would not be upset if Open Queue became the de facto choice for tournaments because they are just absolutely on fire tonight.
Well, just because you play it well doesn't mean it's not upsetting.
That is true. I don't know how much fun the players are truly having. As we see, there's how we got there. Boise State 2-0ing Midland, 2-0ing Kent State, currently sitting up 2-0 on Becker. But this is a best of 5, so the Hawks get one more shot at it. They took down Emerson and Roger Williams to make it to the finals. So, and as we've talked about, they share the same coach in Shifty. So probably not too many cheeky strats are going to come out but I don't really know at the same time how much Shifty devotes to coaching goats because, they're never going to play goats in a tournament. I don't know how much he would devote.
Cheeky is cheeky.
That's true.
You can usually apply
That's
cheeky
true.
cheeky is an idea, Fish.
I mean, but, sometimes a Sombra can flank. You can't always flank on, a Brig or something.
I don't know what you're talking about. Brig flank is best flank.
Well, maybe Frost might channel his inner Sombra play here as we do head to match point on Lijiang. Boise State back in the blue.
Patch for Brig to be invisible when?
Please. All right, let's see here. Oh, combo, he tried. He immediately got taken down. A double boot from a large bagel. Speaking of it, he's going to survive that, it looks like. I thought he was taken out. Both Lucios have the same idea. One executed it perfectly, one did not.
Yep, and then, it's coming down to individual skill.
100% he typed in chat. You 100% know he stopped moving. He's like, I'm better. Blue
He
stiff.
absolutely, yes, that is very in character for him indeed.
Blue stiff.
Blue stiff, support diff, goat stiff. Because that's really what it is when you're running not only mirror comp, but mirror strategies and mirror coaches. It comes down to individual player skill, like we just saw.
Boise State has gotten the point. Becker trying to get in on the orange side. The Hawks, unfortunately, have a low Reinhardt. They also have swapped in Uncivil Word now. He is on the Zarya, so a little bit of a change up there for the Hawks here facing match point. Frost has been stunned. Kell dropping low, but Boise State barely surviving. Shatter comes out from Spark, not going to find anything. Cybernoodle's the first one down. Goblin's still going to win the battle of the Zaryas there. He's going to get the grab out, and Boise State's going to pick up 4, make it 5. And the Broncos looking good.
Their Brig made a fatal mistake there that enabled Boise State to win the fight. What do you think it was, Fish?
What mistake did the Brig make?
Yep.
He clearly didn't go for the sneaky flank.
That's true. You're absolutely right. He didn't come from behind. He just walked through the doorway to the front. You are absolutely right, Fish. There it is.
We see there's a Shatter. Now Uncivil Word is going to drop down the grab of his own. Boise State's going to be able to survive, losing only Plato, thanks in part to the rally and the sound barrier, which were also used by Becker. There's going to be a double Diva Bomb come flying in. Neither one going to find anything, but Boise State is going to lose Guac and Frost, and the Broncos in the blue going to have to respawn.
Broncos in the blue are going to have to respawn indeed because they did not have their Zenyatta to sustain through that fight, and then they kind of got individually picked out after that, I would say, is their biggest thing to losing that fight. But Kell's still getting us a percent there.
Nice job by Kell, stalling out. Might get him to 90. No, he'll get him to 89 before it flops over to orange. Boise State going to wait for him to respawn, but one fight, and Boise State probably wins.
Let's see another fantastic Lucio rollout with like a team kill. If Bagel doesn't team kill with a boop, he's throwing.
Hey, I mean, it's one of the keys to the game. Don't feed Bagel, so a lot of pressure on him. It looks like Goblin might be going for the flank as well. Actually, it looks like he's going to... Where did he grab? What? Where did Goblin grab from? He's not even on the map. It did get eaten by Sacred End, so maybe he's trying to be tricky. We see the Shatter come out from Guac. Uncivil Word and Spark have been taken down. Boise State's going to take down Cybernoodle as well. Sacred End, who's now on the Diva, will fall. And Boise State's going to flip it. I really would love to have seen where that grab came from.
So he was across the koi pond, because it's a projectile.
Yeah.
It has an arc.
Yep.
Yeah, and usually you do it point blank because she's Zarya, so she's on the front line. But I think he was just trying to arc. Oh no! I think he was just trying to arc it so that they couldn't eat or avoid or know where it was coming from.
Unfortunately for Boise State, they're going to lose 2 to the Diva Bomb. The grab's going to come out. Looks like Becker is going to be able to flip it as overtime began. So Boise State now needs to win one of probably the next 2 or 3 fights here to start this off and put them on match point.
With how long the fights are typically going, I would say they have about 2 safe fights, 3 if you want to make it really risky.
See Boise State in this time going for that same flank. No ults up for either side. Boise State leading in most of the hero comparisons, and by a large
Get that
margin in a
Reinhardt.
couple of them.
Kill that Reinhardt.
Are dropping low. There he
There he
goes.
is.
He's taking down. Sound barrier from a large bait going to be used. Boise
There it
State
is, guys.
does look like the grab is going to be eaten by Sacred End, but that's all that's going to go the way of Becker. Combo the last one there. Tried the sound barrier, couldn't hit the ground, and Boise State's going to flip the point. And with that, I don't think there's any way Becker gets back.
With that, there it is. They managed to take Boise State to a third map, which is not something that we had seen tonight.
That was just based on the
But
rule
it
set,
seems
though.
like, yes. But it does seem like Boise State has the advantage and will continue to have the advantage with these next coming with this next map.
So this is going to be series point for Boise State. They picked this one up. They are the GOATS victors. Broncos are in the blue. Becker College is in the orange here. And Boise State right now, it was a closer map, but have to think the Broncos still in control. But Sacred End has done a really good job eating these grabs.
Oh, yeah.
It's unfortunate that he wasn't on the Diva for the first two maps because they might have had different results.
Yes, absolutely. He is taking advantage of the fact that Goblin is not necessarily as comfortable on Zarya in terms of grab placement. Because, I mean, that just comes with playing more Zarya and being a Zarya main, which he is not.
In the middle, no one dropping too low there. Block sustaining some damage, but right now the team's just seeing who's going to blink first. There's no Ana this time for Boise State. You see a hammer being swung there. Cyberludo dropping low. He will be the first target eliminated, but he will trade out for Frost. So both Briggs have been taken down. Guac trying to get a cheeky charge onto somebody, but it's not going to land. Once again, the team's trade as Uncivil Word goes down, but so does Guac. We do see Kel has been forced out of the mech, but it's not going to slow down. Boise State is Plato and Goblin going to pick up a pair. The point's unlocked, but neither team cares. Finally, a large bagel's like, hey guys, this is how we win the map. He's going to go over and cap it.
He's going to go over and cap it as a good Lucio should. The minute their Zarya went down, I was like, that was a worthy trade, Guac. Good job. You were the price. But you got their Zarya down and enabled them to cap point. Oh, Goblin.
As we talk about these aggressive sound barriers, or not sound barriers, grabs coming out. Boise State picks up 4, and now Becker College.
Into the iris.
Plato's Transcendence there, interesting, for sure.
I think it was a fat finger, absolutely. There, I mean,
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if that was necessary. We'll see if Boise State's going to regret that. So we do see, there's the shatter from Guac. Can only land onto Cyberdoodle. There's that Plato being taken down without having used the Transcendence. It's not going to really matter for Boise State as Spark and Uncivil Word are both taken down. So Boise State doing a nice hold here in the Becker spawn.
Boise State doing a nice hold in the spawn indeed.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Didn't really have anything too sneaky besides the rally, honestly, but it was still pretty funny to see Boise State hold out. Kel picks up a double for Boise State. Unfortunately for Becker, they really just cannot find a way out of their own spawn. Yuchi and Kamba going to go down. Sacred End, the only one left alive. And Boise State well on their way, and looks like they're going to try it again.
Boise State well on their way indeed, holding them outside of their spawn with another Graviton, which is what started this in the first place.
Grab's going to come out from Goblin. We are going to see the rally sound barrier used by Becker. Boise State going to use a sound barrier of their own. They have lost Plato, but right now no one else has been taken down. Sacred Knight going to throw the Diva Bomb. Broncos trying to evade. They will do just that, but meanwhile Guac and Frost will both go down, and Boise State, for the first time all map, is finally starting to struggle, and it's good news for Becker College because the Hawks need to get onto the point quickly before Boise State wins this.
Before Boise State wins this, I think part of the reason they ended up losing it in the end is because Plato was having a really rough time while they were spawn camping. And now Boise State has almost a full contest on the point anyway, because they held so far forward.
Spark gets the shatter off, doesn't land onto anyone. Once again, Plato not having the best of maps here. He will be taken out, but the Broncos have been just fine without him so far. As you see, Uncivil Word, Yuchi, Kamba, and Sacred End all going to go down. Grab from Goblin will be enough, and the Broncos, they're going to wrap this one up without dropping a single map, as Boise State will 3-0 Becker College in the finals.
Boise State super diabolical, holding outside their spawn. The thing about clean wiping outside their spawn is you're far enough from the point that you get to make it back for a final fight like that. And I don't think, so normally the decision, I don't think they were expecting Boise State to be on the point. Otherwise they would have killed Kel. Otherwise they wouldn't have let him remech.
Just a reminder, if you ever want that to be you, who has to be forced to play goats at an unreasonable time, you can be just that, because Boise State Esports is always looking for talented players, production, and broadcasters. Top talent along with good grades and eligibility can earn scholarships as well. Sign up today by visiting boisestate.edu/esports for more information. These current Broncos have to be happy thanks to Stella rallying them. They did not drop a single map. Here we go, Stella. We'll get the full view. Oh, go right. Whoa.
Which
We're
camera?
getting tricky. Yeah, now make sure there is. All right.
All the angles.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the headphones would wrap around her. So there are no bad angles of Stella, though, I will say. So huge shout out to Stella. Huge shout out to Boise State for absolutely coming in clutch there and 7-0ing the GOATS tournament.
Oh, yes, absolutely. They just kind of walked forward and did what GOATS does, which is absolutely roll anyone that's not ready for it.
See there, that is the bracket. Boise State was victorious against Becker College. They 2-0'd Midland, they 2-0'd Kent State, and then they 3-0 Becker, as the final was a best of 5. So as we said, the Broncos didn't drop a single map here. 7-0 in the Collegiate Overwatch GOATS Invitational. But I'm sure at the same time, guys like Goblin, guys like Plato, guys like Frost are probably relieved they never have to do that again.
Probably. I would say that Plato had a pretty good time on the Zenyatta. I think he might heal a little bit more support after this, but I think he has much more fun playing things like Ash.
Yeah, I mean, it's just headshots actually mean something when you're on a DPS. There's nothing more boring than when you're on a tank and you get the little red X and you're like, wow, I did 20 damage. Woo.
I did 20. Most tanks you can't even, headshot with.
That is true. Yeah, D.Va's the only one in that comp you can really headshot with.
Yeah.
Everything else, when we say the key to Overwatch is to click heads, it's not fun when you can't actually click on the head. Reinhardt hammer to the head should be an instant kill. There you go. That's great
hammer
balance. Great balance. I figured it out. I fixed the game.
Yes, absolutely. There you go. You fixed the game.
No Reinhardt would ever put his shield up. He just starts swinging like, I hope I hit somebody.
Oh my gosh, and all the heads sit at different levels, so you would have to aim your hammer for all the different oh my goodness.
Well, we are going to have our Idaho Central Credit Union player of the game, really the player of the tournament from Boise State. Do you have any predictions, D'Angelo?
I still want to say Kel because of the Diva Bomb value, and because he started eating grabs there towards the end. If it's not Kel, I want to say it was probably Plato. Even though he was on the Zenyatta.
Nothing for Goblin, who had
he got an amazing. Yeah, you're right.
You can only name one, though. You can't just keep rocking the team.
You can't
just
put ideas in my head and not let me nominate them.
You got to pick one. You got to pick one. I'm holding you to it.
You can't put ideas in my head.
Stella would pick one.
And listen, Stella's better than I am.
Stella's better than all of us, really. I mean, there is no competition.
Absolutely not. But I do think it will be Kel.
All right, here we go.
Probably. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not confident about it, clearly, just because everybody was popping off.
That is true. See who it is. Hey, you were right. Your first guess was right. You nominated him early on, and he did not disappoint in those Diva Bombs. A huge reason why Boise State was undefeated.
Absolutely a huge reason why Boise State was undefeated, because it's really hard to kill things in a GOATS comp, but, one of the things that can kill things in a GOATS comp is a literal nuke. So there you go.
Yeah. You don't even need a 25 kill streak like you do in other games to pick it up. You just get your ult to 100% and then boom, right there.
And then you have to position it and then you just proceed to murder people.
Yeah, that was the big reason against Midland. I thought he really outplayed Chatter. Against Kent State, it was a lot closer. The Kent State Diva definitely got some value, but a huge shout out to Kel. But I really would say a huge shout out to Plato and Frost and Goblin for tolerating the fact that they weren't allowed to play DPS.
I don't know what you're talking about. Goblin and Plato were on DPS that entire match.
That's basically kind of how you have to play it in GOATS, is you have to play the Zenyatta and the Zarya as your sort of pseudo DPS.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. They were on DPS the entire time.
Well, I will say it is a big congratulations to Kel as we see his Diva Bomb just highlight reel here. He is the ICCU player of the game. ICCU, who believes a great player makes a team more successful, just like they help their members achieve financial success. So it is Kel who's the ICCU player of the tournament for Boise State. As the Broncos 7-0 in the Overwatch Goats Invitational, and they are the champions.
Yes, and 7-0 player of the tournament. That's got to mean something special to Kel there. So everybody should just everybody should just give him an amazing round of applause.
Unfriend him so you can endorse him.
Unfriend him, yes. Unfriend him so you can endorse him. Hype him up in the Twitch chat. If you see him in person, give him a elbow tap because we're in the pandemic.
Yeah, just an elbow tap, a thumbs up, something like that. Well, that is going to wrap up our action tonight. We're going to have more high school Overwatch action tomorrow. So if you want to check that out, make sure you come back, drop a follow so you know when we go live. But for Stella, D'Angelo, and Fish, as well as production and our chat, it's been a great evening for Boise State. We're going to leave you with the top 5 plays. And until next time, have a great evening. Appropriate, the Broncos and the Hawks, who have met already this season in Nace. Boise State won that one, but there is that sort of fun little storyline that the coach for Boise State, Shifty, is all. Bear is going to be used. Large Bagel says that seems fun. I'll throw it down as well, as both members going to survive the original damage. Now Grab is going to come out from Goblin, and Boise State's able to take Chatter out of the mech. Kel loses his, but it's a worthy sacrifice as Boise State's going to pick up a 4K, and they're going to send Midland running back.
Wow, Boise State went into that with a Shatter and a Dream, and they did an
See the Shatter sound barrier up for Midland. A Large Bagel has his sound barrier, but he was taken out, so he's got to get into the fight. There's the grab that's going to be used. Shatter is going to land onto Asu, and both sound barriers going to come out, but that's a 6-man Shatter. Hard to miss when they're all grabbed, and Boise State's going to pick up the team kill, and that is going to do it. The Broncos going to cap that one.
probably not going to get a ton of value where he currently is, so like, I don't know, saving your death stats.
Oh, he's
That's
pushing the payload. We see off screen that the grab has come down. You can see the silhouette. It looks like it's Lord Hades who's running back. Meanwhile, back in on the fight, Transcendence and the Shatter going to be Frost, but nothing more. As Transcendence going to keep them both alive. Now Boise State's going to try. 2-man Shatter plus a sound barrier and a grab going to come out. And Spark and Sacred End going to meet their demise. Nate taken out of the mech. Yuchi will fall, so will Cybernoodle. Combat had the sound barrier, chose not to use it. And that's going to be last fight chance here for Becker.
Yes, they are in last fight.
Well, Plato is going to use that Transcendence, keep everyone alive. Yuchi's throwing his down. Double Shatter comes out. Guac wins that one. 5-man Shatter, and there go the members of Becker, Nate, Sacred End, Cybernoodle, combo, Spark barely hanging on him, and Yuchi go down. It's a team kill, and it's game 2 over to Boise State. Well, we are not quite done celebrating Boise State's victory. Stella, let's make sure we're looking at the right spot there. Good job. So we're going to go with our post-game press conference with Doc Haskell to celebrate Boise State's 7-0 win in the Overwatch Goats Invitational. And we'll start, Doc, with, you know, it's great to win this tournament, but this is not something we're going to see. Nace doesn't require you to play Goats. Everything is 2-2-2. So what can Boise State learn winning a tournament like this with an off-meta rule set?
Well, you know what? It's not as off as you think. Yes, the heroes are different than we're playing right now, but the fundamentals are the same. Ult economy, you got to jump on the same target, you got to be coordinated. If anything, it's a great drill to go through to remind us how to play together.
And it's great because now you know if Goats, for whatever reason, comes back, you have a great squad.
You know what? Something like Goats is always in the meta. I mean, a Brawl comp is not that far off from a Goats comp. It's just different heroes.
And it was really a great win by Boise State. There wasn't ever a series where they were challenged and it was like, wow, that player rise to the occasion. But on Lijiang, first time we had seen it because it was a best of 5 in the finals, there was just an awesome rollout there by a Large Bagel. And really, as we said, probably type Luce Diff in the chat because we see both Lucios go for it and only one of them's victorious.
Yeah, you notice most of the time Lucios go to the inside there. He took the outside track the whole time knowing, and they're looking across when he comes in and he just gets such a great boop. They didn't even know he's coming that direction.
So can we officially take Don't Feed Bagel off the keys to the game, or do we have to make sure we remind him he makes plays like that?
Yeah, we'll take it off the keys to the game.
Because he's been pretty spectacular. Now let's get to the rest of NACE. I know it's getting down to the nitty-gritty of the regular season. How are you feeling about the teams in the final couple of matches before playoffs?
Well, we had a great match against UW Stout here recently. The top of this group is actually much tougher than I think we've seen. It's going to be really, really good to see some of these great squads. They're going to be well suited for this, but it's going to be tough in NACE.
Yeah, UW Stout was the other undefeated team in that group with Boise State Blue.
They're not undefeated anymore.
Hey, we'll take that. So thank you, Doc, for wrapping things up. As we said, a huge congratulations to Boise State, 7-0 in the Overwatch Goats Invitational, and they are your champions. Well, that will officially wrap everything up for us tonight. Don't forget a big shout-out to Stella, gracing us with her presence and really willing the Broncos to this championship. As we mentioned, we've got Missouri High School Esports tomorrow night at 6 o'clock if you want to check that out. But until next time, have a great evening.